Chapter 1459. Feng Luan shook her head when she saw Wang Xian leaving. Rest. You are resting every day. She was a little envious of Wang Xian, Guan Shuqing, and the other girls. They didn't have to do anything all day long. They could cultivate, eat, drink, play, and be free. Unlike her, she was extremely busy all day long. Wang Xian didn't know what Feng Luan was thinking. He walked out with an excited look on his face. There was a huge amount of resources in the interspatial ring in his hand. The main hall was completely under his control. There were some corpses of ferocious beasts and extremely precious medicinal pills in the main hall. All these resources added together with the resources that the Dragon Palace had obtained recently were enough for him to improve his strength. Xiao Xian. Just as he walked out of the main hall, a voice suddenly sounded. Wang Xian was slightly stunned. He looked over and saw Ling Jian, who was dressed in white, looking at him with a face full of joy as she walked towards him. In her eyes, she couldn't hide her admiration. Hey, Ling Jian. Wang Xian looked at her as she walked over with an awkward expression on his face. After the main hall was completely under control, the base of the Liu Huang alliance was also placed in the main hall. Recently, Ling Jian had been coming to look for him frequently. Everyone could see the admiration in her eyes. As the saying goes, a woman chasing a man is separated by a layer of gauze. Every day, she would be chased by an extremely beautiful girl. It was a lie for Wang Xian to say that he was not tempted. Here, this is the dessert that I just learned how to make yesterday. Try it and see if it tastes good. Ling Jian took out an exquisite box with a happy expression and handed it to him. All right, Ling Jian, you don't have to give me these. Wang Xian looked at the things that were handed over and smiled awkwardly. Ling Jian treated him very well. He could tell that she treated him very well. Xiao Xian, why didn't you tell us when you were going back? Chimpate. At this moment, the voices of Guan Shuqing and the other girls could be heard from behind. Upon hearing their voices, Ling Jian retreated a little cautiously and kept a distance away from Wang Xian. Ahem, I didn't know that you guys were also in the main hall. Wang Xian looked at the few girls and said with a smile. Humph, you're fooling around again. Guan Shuqing rolled her eyes at him and pouted. The other few girls also had hostile looks. Wang Xian was speechless and didn't say anything. In the past half a year, he finally managed to get a group of girls to accept Zhong Fengying and live the life of Wei Xiaobao, 7 wives. However, because of this, a few of the girls stared at him sternly and didn't want to flirt with him anymore. This caused a group of girls to pay close attention to him. Are you guys going back to the Dragon Palace? Shall we go back together? Wang Xian quickly changed the topic and said to them. Let's go back. Let's go back together then. A few of the girls nodded their heads. Ling Jian, I still have some matters to attend to, so I'll go back first. Thank you for the delicious food. Wang Xian waved his hand as he spoke to Ling Jian. Ling Jian pursed her lips and nodded with a smile on her face. She stared blankly at Wang Xian and the rest as they turned around and left. However, very soon, she clenched her fist and stabbed it into her palm, causing a trickle of blood to flow out. Xiao Xian, are you still lacking a maid? Wang Xian, who was walking in front, suddenly heard Ling Jian's voice from behind. His body stiffened. Is there still a need for a maid? Wang Xian remembered that when he was in the cemetery of demi-humans and Ling Jian confessed to him for the first time, he said, if you want to follow me, that's fine too. Be a maid, serve tea, pour water, wash clothes, cook, and wash your feet. Now. This is not lacking, not lacking. Wang Xian felt a few cold gazes from beside him. He quickly shook his head, turned around, and left. Ling Jian, who was standing at the back, had even more strength in her hands. Drops of blood fell to the ground. She looked at Wang Xian's figure with an extremely dejected gaze. If I can't be with you, what's the meaning of this? Heartless sword path. Forget about love. Forget about love. She mumbled as a hint of deathly grey slowly appeared in her eyes. In this deathly grey color, an extremely cold golden small sword was flashing. Back then, not only did she obtain a golden origin, but she also obtained a sword Dao inheritance that she thought was a forbidden technique. Back then, when she saw this sword Dao inheritance, she threw it into her interspatial ring. This was because no one knew how to cultivate, and no one would believe that there was such a way to cultivate sword Dao. The true heartless sword Dao, killing sword Dao. I have to say, Ling Jian'er's desserts are really delicious. If she didn't like Xiaoxian, we would have been friends with her. It's pretty good. It's much better than my desserts. Xiaoxian, try it. Ling Jian'er gave it to you. Wang Xian and the group of girls flew toward the Dragon Palace. The few girls took the desserts skillfully. It was obviously not the first time. The few girls had a good impression of Ling Jian'er. However, she was a love rival. Naturally, they didn't want to share Wang Xian with others. There were already enough people. Hey, let me try it too. Wang Xian smiled and ate some. It wasn't the first time he had tasted it. The taste was still as delicious as before. The current Dragon Palace had been relocated to the sea area not far from the main hall. That place used to be the lair of the blood barbarian demonic beasts. Now, the Dragon Palace had been relocated there. When they entered the Dragon Palace, they could clearly see that there was a lot of vitality in the entire Dragon Palace. Compared to before, the Dragon Palace now had a tremendous change. First of all, the Dragon Palace no longer had more than 6,000 members, but had more than 16,000 members, an increase of 10,000 members. The Demon Lin Demon Beast clan had all joined the Dragon Palace, along with the Sickle-tailed Snake clan, the Ghost Monkey clan, and a few other Demon Beast clans. The Demon Lin Demon Beast clan had over 6,000 demon beasts, and the remaining 4,000. These were all demon beasts that had passed the Dragon Gate. The remaining demon beasts, including the bloodthirsty Sea Demon Beast clan, hadn't passed the Dragon Palace. The Demon Lin Demon Beast clan belonged to the Mount of the Dragon Palace. A mount didn't mean that their status in the Dragon Palace was low. On the contrary, their status was very high. If they wanted to make a demon beast their mount, the other members of the Dragon Palace had to show their strength. Without strength, the demon Cheline wouldn't let anyone ride it. The Sickle-tailed Snake clan had joined the special department of the Dragon Palace, the poison-making department. The Ghost Monkey passed through the Dragon Pond and turned into the Demon Monkey of the Demon War department. As for the rest, they were filled with the Dragon Spur department, the Dragon Guard department, the Thunder department, and the Golden Swordfish clan. These demonic beasts were not weak. After killing the Bloodflow Empire and killing the surrounding beasts, the weakest members of the Dragon Palace were at least at Transcendent Level 9. Among them, there were 3,000 at the Profound Void Realm. It was not an exaggeration to say that the Dragon Palace's power could sweep through all the forces in the Liuhai region, including the Dragon Phoenix Empire and the Liu Huang Alliance. Chapter 1460. Now, in the entire Liuhai region, everyone knows that the Dragon Phoenix dynasty is extremely powerful. However, they don't know that the Dragon Palace is the one who is truly powerful. Wang Xian scanned all the members in the Dragon Palace and revealed a smile. Currently, there were 3 people in the Dragon Palace who possessed the combat strength of level 7 of the See-Through Realm. Ao Xingmu and 2 Demon Cheline. The combat division leaders of the Dragon Palace had already reached level 5 of the See-Through Realm and possessed the combat strength of level 6 of the See-Through Realm. His current strength was not very outstanding in the Dragon Palace. It's time for me to raise my strength. Wang Xian moved his body and flew directly toward the Dragon King Hall. A group of girls followed behind him and looked at Wang Xian on the dragon throne happily. All of you, step back a little. I can't control the aura that I release when I make a breakthrough. Wang Xian reminded the girls. His body moved and transformed into a dragon. Then, he threw the pills in his interspatial ring into his mouth. In the past half a year, he had already obtained a terrifying amount of resources after subduing the Bloodflow Empire and its affiliated forces. After the Dragon Phoenix Empire was established, it ruled over 1,000 cities, and the Firehammer clan earned hundreds of billions of middle-grade spirit stones from selling weapons every day. The profit was about 60 to 70 billion middle-grade spirit stones. 60 to 70 billion middle-grade spirit stones was a huge amount of money for a dynasty. Just the pills bought with these spirit stones could increase a lot of dragon chi. With the continuous income of spiritual stones, the strength of the members of the Dragon Palace had also increased tremendously. Ding! Congratulations to host for breaking through in your level. As you have comprehended the strongest aspect of the 5 elements, the 5 elements grinding has further strengthened the dragon head. Ding! Congratulations to host for comprehending the aspect. The dragon has the head of the world. Name, Wang Xian. Race, 5 elements divine dragon, able to transform into a human. Level, 3rd level of the void interpretation, 3rd change of the divine dragon transformation. Dragon crystal, 3,311,276. 4,000,000 billion. Supernatural ability, ruling the water tribe below one's level. Devouring creatures to extract dragon crystals. Control of the 5 elements. Cultivation method, divine dragon transformation. Supernatural ability, soul capture, spirit possession, light and dark fire dragon eyes, light and dark void, light and dark shadowless, light and dark. Aspect, 5 elements grinding, dragon country in the palm, dragon head under the heavens. Dragon Palace, Level 3. Members of Dragon Palace, 16,796. Boom. When the system's voice rang in Wang Xian's mind, his body began to improve crazily. His 70-meter-long body expanded rapidly, especially the position of the dragon head. The energy of the 5 elements swept across it. Every dragon whisker and 2 huge dragon horns emitted a divine glow. The energy of the 5 elements grinding strengthened the position of the dragon head. The 3rd aspect, the dragon head of the world. His body finally stopped at the 80-meter-long position. The energy contained in his huge dragon body was even more terrifying. It seems that every time I upgrade and comprehend the aspect, I will be able to strengthen a part of my body, Wang Xian thought to himself. When he thought of each aspect, he found it a little funny. When he used the dragon kingdom in his palm, the entire dragon claw had expanded by 3 kilometers, which was 3,000 meters. However, his body was still tens of meters long. It looked very comical. The dragon head and the world aspect were the same. The dragon head had expanded by a few thousand meters while the body was still 80 meters long. Wasn't that like a tadpole? It seems like I can only look normal after I transform my entire body aspect. Wang Xian thought to himself. His body moved and returned to his human form. Xiao Xian, congratulations on your improvement. Husband, now you have the strength of a 7th-level void interpretation. A group of girls ran over with faces full of joy and asked happily. Chmem, his strength should be about the same as Ao Xingmu's. Wang Xian nodded with a smile. Ao Xingmu's strength was definitely the most terrifying existence among the 7th-level void interpretation. Now, Wang Xian was on par with him. Next, all of you need to improve your cultivation. Also, the Dragon Palace needs to consolidate their strength, Wang Xian said to them. The Dragon Palace had added about 10,000 new members. Next, they needed to get used to each other and undergo training. Moreover, they were already invincible in the Liuhai region. Next, they would enter the stage of normal development. Alright, but we need to call Sister Feng Luan to celebrate. Guan Shuqing and the rest of them said happily. Don't invite Feng Luan. She has a lot of things to do. Let's go celebrate. Hee hee. As Wang Xian spoke, his gaze swept across the 6 girls and his eyes lit up. This was especially so for Zhong Fengying. Although the girls had accepted her, they had never slept together before. Now that everything had been settled, it was time to start clapping for love. When he thought of Zhong Fengying's figure that was even hotter than that of a Jaya, he felt extremely excited. Charge. For 2 days in a row, Wang Xian once again lived a life that was as happy as the heavens. Boom. 2 days later, a muffled sound suddenly rang in the Dragon Palace. A thick flame filled the entire Dragon Palace. Ding. Dragon seed harvested, Fire Phoenix Dragon seed. At this moment, the voice of the system suddenly rang out in Wang Xian's mind. Hey! What's going on? Wang Xian was slightly shocked. He immediately flew out of the bedroom and headed towards the dragon pool. Chirp! Chirp! When he looked into the dragon pool, he revealed a surprised expression. A huge fire phoenix was slowly circling above the dragon pool. The fire phoenix's gaze was fixed on one of the divine dragons on the 9 dragon pillars. Wang Xian looked over and revealed a surprised expression. Initially, there were 9 divine dragons that looked exactly the same. Now, the divine dragon that the fire phoenix was staring at was burning with flames all over its body. It had completely turned into a fire divine dragon. It's because of the indestructible wood. The indestructible wood is the wood of origin fire. The dragon palace extracted the blood of the phoenix and gave birth to a new dragon seed, the fire phoenix dragon seed. Wang Xian had some understanding in his heart and a hint of excitement appeared in his eyes. The fire phoenix dragon seed was definitely not weaker than the fire gold dragon seed, the thorny dragon seed, and the starwood dragon seed. This is a big win. Moreover, the phoenix can really increase her strength in the dragon pool. Her level has already reached the 5th level of the see-through void. Wang Xian stared at the gigantic fire phoenix and revealed a faint smile. Chirp chirp. At this moment, the fire phoenix turned its head and shouted at Wang Xian. Its body moved and transformed into a human form. Feng Luan's eyes were filled with excitement and shock. I actually turned my bloodline back into a fire phoenix. Back then, when I was in the realm of longevity, I could only transform into the form of a fire phoenix. Furthermore, I could only maintain it for 10 minutes. Now, I can change my form freely. After I transform into a fire phoenix, I can fight 2 levels higher and fight against a powerhouse at the 7th level of the profound void stage. She walked towards Wang Xian excitedly. Oh, isn't that great? Wang Xian smiled at her. I still have some resources here. I'll go and upgrade 1 more level. Unfortunately, before my strength reaches the realm of longevity, I can't reveal my phoenix form as I please. Chapter 1461. Wang Xian was slightly speechless as he watched Feng Luan enter the dragon pool once again. She would be stronger than him if she were to increase her level 1 more time. After this upgrade, it won't be long before the Liuhai region is completely under the control of the Dragon and Phoenix Empire. A smile appeared on his face as he looked at Feng Luan's figure. What happened, little Xian? At this moment, a group of girls walked over and asked curiously. Nothing much. Feng Luan's level has broken through. Wang Xian shook his head and looked at the fire divine dragon that was coiled on the pillar at the dragon pond. Fire Phoenix Dragon Seed. I wonder if it can allow the demon Qilin clan to transform it. Wang Xian thought to himself. Dragon King, Miss Ling Jian asked Duan Jinming to send something over. She said that she must give it to you. At this moment, Prime Minister Gui was holding an exquisite box in his hand. He walked over and spoke to Wang Xian respectfully. Ling Jian asked him to send it over. Wang Xian was slightly stunned. He took the box with a stunned expression. Ling Jian must have missed the handsome Wang Xian whom she hasn't seen for 2 days. She might have specially made some delicacies for you and sent it over. A few girls looked over and rolled their eyes at Wang Xian. How could that be? Wang Xian shook his head. This was not an explanation. Based on his understanding of Ling Jian, she would not do such a thing. Open it and let us see what it is. Could it be a love letter? A few girls gathered around curiously and asked Wang Xian. Wang Xian shook his head slightly and slowly opened the box. However, the moment the box was opened, his expression changed drastically. He felt his scalp tingling and stared at the thing inside in disbelief. What is it? A few girls saw that Wang Xian was stunned and leaned over. This. What is this? However, when Guan Shuqing and the rest saw the item inside, their faces turned pale instantly. Heart. Wang Xian's expression changed as he stared at the beating heart. His expression kept changing. A heart, a beating human heart. Beside the heart, there was a note. Wang Xian looked at this thing and felt his scalp tingling. Why did Ling Jian give him a heart? Furthermore, whose heart was this? Phew. Wang Xian took a deep breath and took the note from the box. He then opened it. I am my heart. This is for you, Xiaoxian. I love you. I know you don't love me, but I love you just like a beating heart. You don't have to worry. I'm not dead and I'm not in any danger. However, from today onwards, I no longer have a heart. I want to start another life. Goodbye. 4 lines of words. It was a very simple word. Fuck. When Wang Xian read the 4 lines of words, he could not help but curse. His expression was extremely ugly. What's wrong, Xiaoxian? When the group of girls saw Wang Xian's expression, they revealed anxious expressions. It had been a very, very long time since they saw Wang Xian so angry and embarrassed. The last time, Guan Shuqing was severely injured and on the verge of death. The last time, Xiao Yu was severely injured. A few girls looked at him worriedly. I really didn't expect her to be so extreme. Wang Xian handed the note in his hand to them with an embarrassed expression. He was breathing heavily as he spoke. This, how could Ling Jian how could a person without a heart? When the few girls saw the words on it, their faces turned pale. Give my heart to you. Just thinking about it made them feel a little terrified. Wang Xian came to the seat of the Dragon King's palace with a gloomy face. He sat on the dragon chair and stared at the beating heart with an expressionless face. It was very strange that the heart was still beating. Without a heart, it was impossible for a person to survive unless he had reached the realm of longevity. Obviously, Ling Jian did not have the ability to do so. However, her heart was indeed beating. What the fuck? Wang Xian's face turned darker and darker when he recalled his condition when he met Ling Jian. Speaking of which, Ling Jian was an extreme person and had a weird personality since her father chased her out of the house after her mother's death. It was only after she confessed to Wang Xian and sect leader Ling brought her back to the sect that her personality improved a little. Especially after he said that she was too cold and needed to be more lively, her character improved a lot. However, there was one thing that could not be concealed. Ling Jian had not recovered from the trauma of her childhood. If Wang Xian accepted her, she might have recovered. However, she had not accepted him for the past half a year. It ignited her previous emotions. I'll go to sect leader Ling's place. Wang Xian stood up and said to the few girls as he flew towards the main hall. The few girls exchanged glances and followed behind him immediately. The main hall was only about 100 kilometers away from here. With his speed, he arrived very quickly. Sect leader Ling. Before Wang Xian arrived at the main hall, he saw sect leader Ling leading his men and flying into the distance with a gloomy expression. He moved and appeared in front of them. Brother Wang Xian, have you seen my daughter? Have you seen her? Sect leader Ling asked anxiously when he saw Wang Xian. This was a huge loss of composure for the big shots in the Liuhai region. Sect leader Ling, I received a letter from Ling Jian, so I rushed over immediately to ask. Wang Xian didn't dare to tell him what was on his mind. He asked with a solemn face. She said that she wants to cultivate the heartless sword principle. She wants to leave this place and start a new life. If I forget about her daughter, she will also forget about me. The heartless sword principle. Sect leader Ling said in a fluster. The heartless sword principle? What heartless sword principle? Wang Xian was slightly stunned and asked. He had heard of the heartless sword principle when he was on Earth. Ao Jian had also cultivated the heartless sword principle back then. It's this. This is what Jian obtained by chance in the demi-human graveyard back then. Other than the heartless sword principle, there was also a terrifying golden glow. Jian said that the golden glow was the gold of origin and the gold of origin had been absorbed. She had never cultivated this heartless sword principle. After she threw this heartless sword principle to me, I took a look and threw it into my interspatial ring. As sect leader Ling spoke, she passed a palm-sized rock to Wang Xian. Wang Xian took it and immediately felt a terrifying sword intent coming from it. Following that, a resolution was transmitted. Heartless sword principle, the #1 killing sword in the universe. After mastering it, you will reach the pinnacle of power. No one in the 9 heavens can match you. The heartless sword principle starts from forgetting one's feelings. Dig out your own heart and forge your sword heart. Your sword heart is A resolution surfaced in Wang Xian's mind, causing him to take a deep breath. Use all the powers of the Dragon Phoenix Empire and the Liu Huang Alliance to search for it, Wang Xian said with an embarrassed expression. Chapter 1462. Prime Minister Gui, have you found her? 4 days later, Wang Xian and a group of girls were sitting in the Dragon King's palace. When they saw Prime Minister Gui, a few girls immediately stood up and asked hurriedly, Dragon King, Dragon Queen, we have used the entire Dragon Phoenix Empire, Liu Huang Alliance, and the strength of our Dragon Palace, but we still haven't found Miss Ling Jian. However, someone said that they seemed to have seen this figure flying towards the east. Prime Minister Gui reported to Wang Xian and the rest. The east. Wang Xian frowned slightly. It's the Dragon King. The north-flowing sea, which is 300,000 kilometers away from the east, is a vast area. With our current search efforts, Miss Ling Jian is either in the wilderness or heading towards the vast area. Prime Minister Gui continued to speak to Wang Xian. The vast area of the sea is an area close to the Nine Gods Empire. The area is about 10 times larger than the flowing sea area. The vast area of the sea. Wang Xian's eyes flickered. He was naturally very clear about the vast area of the sea. If the flowing sea area was equivalent to a city, then the vast area of the sea was equivalent to a province. And those empires were equivalent to a huge country. In the supernatural continent, there were 5 empires. There were about 20 territories of the vast sea region. And there were about 40 to 50 places like the flowing sea region. The 3 divisions, together with the ocean region and Dragon Island, formed a huge supernatural continent. With Wang Xian's current energy in the flowing sea region, it was impossible to not find someone unless the person stayed in the wilderness or died. Otherwise, it was impossible for him to not be able to find the person. If he couldn't find the person, he would have to leave this region. It's very likely that Sister Ling Jian has already left the Liuhai region and headed for the vast region, Zhong Fengying said with a frown. This is all our fault. If we had treated her better back then, perhaps. A few girls said with some self-blame. This matter is not your fault. Everyone has their own personality. Ling Jian's personality is different from yours. Wang Xian shook his head and felt a little helpless. It was impossible to say that he did not blame himself. Looking at a girl who liked him and often cooked food for him, she dug her heart out because of his rejection. Other than feeling a little numb, he also felt a little guilty. This was especially so for a guy like Wang Xian who was a philanthropist. If he did not find Ling Jian, he might not feel well for the rest of his life. Dragon King. At this moment, Ao Jian led a group of more than 10 subordinates and walked in. They bowed to Wang Xian. How is it? Wang Xian asked Ao Jian and the rest. Dragon King, the heartless sword principle can indeed be cultivated. If I'm not wrong, this is the real heartless sword principle. It is completely incomparable to the superficial level on Earth. To cultivate the emotionless sword principle, one must dig out the heart and recultivate the sword heart. After cultivating the sword heart, one must begin to train the sword heart, making the sword heart have feelings and making the sword heart emotionless. Finally, one can freely withdraw and release the sword heart. That is the great success of the emotionless sword principle. However, to dig out one's own heart, one must first forget the feelings and condense the embryo of the sword heart. Otherwise, if the embryo is not condensed, digging out the heart will cause one to die instantly. It is very difficult to condense a sword heart embryo without emotions. The mortality rate is very high. Even for our golden swordfish clan, 1 out of 10 clansmen who cultivate will die, Ao Jian reported to Wang Xian. Wang Xian brought over the cultivation method of the heartless sword principle. No one dared to cultivate this thing. He passed the heartless sword principle to Ao Jian and showed it to him. What he didn't expect was that Ao Jian actually allowed people to cultivate it. Fortunately, with the soul returning wood, the dead clansmen could be resurrected. Can they cultivate it? How is the effect of their cultivation? Wang Xian immediately stood up and asked. It can greatly increase their combat strength. If they succeed, they can easily fight 2 levels above them, Ao Jian said with a solemn face, but it's very difficult to succeed. The mortality rate is extremely high. Can you Golden Swordfish tribe continue to cultivate? Wang Xian asked Ao Jian. Golden Swordfish tribe were born swordsmen. Furthermore, they didn't have much emotions. Perhaps they could really cultivate it. We can cultivate it. If we can cultivate it, in the entire Dragon Palace, perhaps only the leader of Ao demons can fight us. Ao Jian's face revealed a strong sense of confidence as he said proudly. You can control the matters of cultivation. Don't suffer too many casualties. Wang Xian said to Ao Jian. Yes, Dragon King. These are Ao Jian's hearts. The other 9 are the hearts of the golden swordfish that have successfully cultivated it. The hearts are the fatal weakness of the cultivators of the heartless sword principle before they have successfully cultivated it. Once the hearts are crushed, we will die. Furthermore, the process of forgetting our feelings while cultivating the heartless sword principle may affect our loyalty. Dragon King, you can suppress us by holding our heart. As Ao Jian spoke, he handed over the hearts one by one. Wang Xian looked over and nodded slowly. Hold the hearts. Within a radius of dozens of kilometers, the Dragon King can sense our presence. If you want to find Miss Ling Jian, you just need to hold the hearts and you will be able to sense us within a radius of dozens of kilometers. Ao Jian continued to report to Wang Xian. Okay. Wang Xian nodded. All of you can go and cultivate. It's the Dragon King. Wang Xian kept the hearts of Ao Jian and the rest. He looked at Ling Jian's heart and shook his head slowly. Xiao Xian, are you going to the vast region to look for Ling Jian? Guan Shuqing and the other girls looked at Wang Xian. If you really go, we will support you. The few girls also knew that Wang Xian valued friendship. When Guan Shuqing's life and death were still unknown, he was so angry that he almost wiped out the entire Jianghu. Although Ling Jian could not be compared to Guan Shuqing, it was only right for him to retrieve her. Let's wait for a while. If he really goes to the vast area, I won't know how to search for him for a while. I'll make some preparations during this period of time. Wang Xian rubbed the space between his eyebrows and said, Dragon King, the Demon Chelin clan is preparing to evolve into the Fire Phoenix Dragon Seed in the Dragon Pool. Do you want to go over and take a look? Prime Minister Gui, who was standing below, asked Wang Xian respectfully. All right, I'll go and take a look. Wang Xian nodded his head and flew towards the Dragon Pool. Judging from the name of the Fire Phoenix Dragon Seed, one could tell that it was a top-notch dragon seed. One by one, the Demon Lin entered the Dragon Pool and rapidly transformed, while 2 Demon Lin were already standing beside the Dragon Pool. The Fire Phoenix Dragon Seed did not allow the Demon Lin to directly evolve into a phoenix. The Dragon Seed was still primarily a dragon. It was very different from the Phoenix true form of the Phoenix Luan. After the Demon Lin clan transformed into the Fire Phoenix Dragon Seed, 2 enormous wings grew out of their backs. Their entire body looked more agile and vigorous. Their bodies were covered by a group of fiery red wings, making them look extremely noble. Chapter 1463. After the Demon Lin clan transformed into the Fire Phoenix Dragon Seed, their strength once again received a powerful increase. The Fire Phoenix Dragon Seed couldn't be considered a peak dragon seed. It was only a dragon seed derived from endless wood and Phoenix Luan's blood. In terms of level, it was equivalent to the light thorn dragon seed. However, for the current Fire Phoenix Dragon Seed clan, this could already be considered a huge increase. From being able to fight against opponents 1 level higher than them to being able to kill opponents 1 level higher than them, this was a huge improvement. After the Flowing Sea region was completely controlled, the Dragon Palace's development was 7 or 8 times better than before. Everything was developing in a good direction. There were more than 16,000 members of the Dragon Palace. There were 1,500 members of the Demon War Department, 1,000 members of the Dragon Guard Department, 1,000 members of the Thunder Department, 1,500 members of the Starwood War Department, 4,000 members on Mount, 1,000 members of the Dragon Spur Department, 1,000 members of the Heavenly Eye Arrow Department, 500 members of the Dolphin Clan, 1,000 members of the Golden Swordfish of the Dragon Guard Department, 1,000 members of the poison-making department of the Bhe clan, over 2,000 members of the Fire Hammer clan's forging department. The special AO crab had tens of thousands of little AO crabs in its body, along with the rest of the civil officials and members who took care of the Dragon Palace. There were a total of over 16,000 members. Although the Dragon Palace was getting stronger and stronger, Wang Xian couldn't be happy because of Ling Jian'er's matter. In the next few days, another shocking incident happened in the Liuhai region. The Liu Huang alliance was disbanded, and all the members joined the Dragon Phoenix Empire. Apart from the ancient Bloodflow sect, the Dragon Phoenix Empire once again unified the forces in the Liuhai region. There were nearly 2,000 insightful Emptiness Realm experts in the entire Dragon Phoenix Empire. After the Dragon Phoenix Empire was unified, the sect master of the Sky Sword sect gave up his position and went to the vast region alone to begin the journey to find his daughter. Time passed day by day, and the Dragon Palace also entered the proper order. The daily income of the Fire Hammer clan could be exchanged for resources, which could allow 2 members of the Dragon Palace to reach the insightful Void Realm. Every day, the strength of the Dragon Palace was increasing. They fought in the Dragon Palace and cultivated in the Dragon Cave. They searched for Ling Jian'er in the Flowing Sea region without stopping. Unfortunately, after a month, there was still no news. Xiao Xian, have you decided to go to the vast region? A month later, in the Dragon Palace, a group of girls looked at him with reluctance and asked, "Yes. If I don't go now, I will go there in the future. Firstly, it's to find Ling Jian'er. Secondly, it's to take a look at the vast region. One day, the Dragon Palace will conquer that sea region." Wang Xian looked at the group of girls and said with a smile, "Be careful then." A few girls looked at him and reminded him, "Don't worry, nothing will happen to me." Wang Xian smiled and looked at the front of the hall. In the Dragon King Hall, 200 strange demons and 200 golden swordfish were standing there. "This time, we are going to the vast area. We will occupy a place and make preparations for the future of the Dragon Palace. All of you will follow me." As Wang Xian spoke to them, his body moved and he flew out of the Dragon Palace. 200 strange demons and 200 golden swordfish immediately followed behind and flew out. Guan Shuqing and the rest followed behind to send them off. "There's no need for all of you to send us off. You can come over when things settle down over there," Wang Xian said to the group of girls. The 7 girls, including Xiao Yu, nodded their heads vigorously. "Wang Xian, be careful. There are many more experts in the vast area than in the Liuhai region." At this moment, Feng Luan, who came over after hearing the news, reminded him when she saw him leading his men to leave. "Don't worry. I'll go to the vast area to explore first," Wang Xian said to Feng Luan. "All right. In 2 to 3 years at most, the Dragon and Phoenix Empire will enter the vast area." Feng Luan nodded her head heavily at him. The entire tomb of the demi-human was already under control, and many places could be opened directly. This could allow some powerhouses to speed up their cultivation speed. Moreover, with her guidance, she could quickly nurture a batch of powerhouses. In addition, she could consume resources to directly raise her level in the dragon pool. Before long, she would reach the peak of the 7th, 8th, or even the see-through realm. "Okay." Wang Xian nodded his head and waved his hand at the group. His body moved and he flew into the distance. Behind him, other than the golden swordfish and the strange demon, there were also 2 civil officials from the Dragon Palace. The left and right hands of Prime Minister Gui were here to set up a vast area. The 200 golden swordfish had no emotions on their faces. They were like emotionless machines. All of them had cultivated the heartless sword principle. They had already condensed their sword hearts and entered the state of forgetting emotions. Among them, 190 were at the 2nd level of the Void Interpretation Realm, 5 were at the 3rd level of the Void Interpretation Realm, 4 were at the 4th level of the Void Interpretation Realm, and Ao Jian was at the 5th level of the Void Interpretation Realm. It was the same for Strange Demon. However, Ao Demon was at the 5th level of the Void Interpretation Realm and was able to assassinate someone at the 7th level of the Void Interpretation Realm. After Wang Xian's understanding of the vast region during this period of time, This force of theirs was considered a second-rate force in the vast region. A third-rate force was equivalent to the blood flow empire in the past. As for a first-rate force, it had to have an expert at the 8th level of the see-through realm to oversee it. As for a super force, it had to have an expert at the 9th level of the see-through realm to oversee it. There are only 3 super forces in the entire vast region: the Wuji Empire, the solipsistic sect, and the Southern royal family. He Yuan belongs to the He clan. The He clan is the strongest existence among the first-rate forces below the 3 super forces. After they have stabilized their footing in the vast sea area, we will look for He Yuan. With the ability of the He clan in the vast sea area, we should be able to find Ling Jian faster. Wang Xian thought to himself. He thought of He Yuan, who was located in the vast sea area, the genius beast tamer. The group of them flew along the sea and passed through a canyon that was only 5 kilometers wide. From the sea of the flowing sea area, they entered the northern flowing sea. After passing through the north flowing sea, they would arrive at the vast sea region. The north flowing sea was extremely vast. If they wanted to pass through the north flowing sea, they would need to fly a distance of 300,000 kilometers. This was equivalent to flying from the easternmost part of the flowing sea region to the westernmost part. 300,000 kilometers. Even with Wang Xian's speed, it would take a few days. It would take at least more than 10 days to bring along the golden swordfish and the rest. After flying to the north flowing sea, Wang Xian looked at the endless ocean in front of him. With a move of his body, he entered the sea directly. Their speed in the water was much faster than in the sky. There were all kinds of ferocious beasts at the bottom of the sea. Some of them were at the 5th or 6th level of the void interpretation realm. Along the way, as long as the ferocious beasts were not courting death, Wang Xian did not have the time to kill them. Sensing the extremely terrifying aura, Wang Xian and the rest took the initiative to take a detour. The deep sea area reached a depth of 40,000 to 50,000 meters. After traveling in the sea for more than 10 days, the sea area became shallow. Wang Xian looked at a special ship in the sky. He knew that the vast area was approaching. Chapter 1464. 1464 Revenge. Bang! In the North Current Sea, Wang Xian and 200 golden swordfish, 2 civil officials of the Dragon Palace, emerged from the bottom of the sea and floated on the surface of the sea. The 200 strange demons were hiding in the surrounding areas. Wang Xian scanned his surroundings and noticed that there were humans flying past in the distant sky. They are just ahead. Wang Xian thought to himself. With a move of his body, he continued flying forward. The group of golden swordfish and the rest were like dead people with no heartbeat. They were extremely cold. If Wang Xian didn't know them, he wouldn't be able to sense their life force and strength. Hey! What's ahead? After flying for more than 10 kilometers, Wang Xian saw a huge mountain peak piercing into the ocean. The entire mountain peak was golden in color. It was like an incomparably huge sharp sword that pierced into the sky for 2 kilometers. There were many ships docked at the front. Every ship was extremely luxurious. Other than the ships, there were also many people sitting on strange airships. The airships were floating in the sky. They were emitting a strange luster. Such airships were not found in the Liuhai region. Wang Xian swept his gaze across and revealed a curious expression. Interesting. It seems that the vast area is much more interesting than the Liuhai region. Wang Xian swept his gaze across the airships indifferently and flew straight to the front. Stop right there. If you want to queue up, go to the front. No one is allowed to pass through here. Just as Wang Xian was approaching the Sword Mountain, a cold voice was heard. Wang Xian looked over and saw 2 young men holding golden long swords shouting at them arrogantly. He took a glance and circled around the area, preparing to continue flying towards the land. I hope I can pass the examination of the Atlas Sword Sect this time and join the Atlas Sword Sect. If I fail this time, I won't have a chance in the future. Only by joining the Atlas Sword Sect will I be able to soar to the skies. This time, I will definitely be able to enter. As he passed by, the bustling voices entered Wang Xian's ears. Atlas Sword Sect. He swept his gaze around curiously and noticed that there were quite a number of experts on the ships. Among them, There were quite a number of 4th and 5th level profound void martial artists. There were at least 200 to 300 profound void martial artists on the hundreds of ships in the surroundings. It could be seen that this towering sky sword sect was not simple. I should first go to the land and understand some of the situation first. Wang Xian thought to himself as he continued to fly forward. Dragon King, there's an acquaintance there. Suddenly, Ao Jian's voice sounded. Acquaintance? Wang Xian was slightly taken aback. How could he meet an acquaintance here? He looked at the location Ao Jian was pointing at and was slightly taken aback. Ren Xingchen was Ren Xingchen. If I remember correctly, this guy was chased by someone and escaped to the Liuhai region. I didn't expect him to be back now. Wang Xian's eyes flickered as he looked at Ren Xingchen, who was wiping his sword with his head. Let's go. Wang Xian hesitated for a moment before he moved and flew towards the ship Ren Xingchen was on. Hey! Who are those people? Are they here to participate in the Qingtian Sword Sect's assessment? These 200 people don't look like they are here. They are wearing the same outfit. They might be from other forces. When Wang Xian led Ao Jian and the rest to fly over, some curious voices came from the surroundings. Some people on the airship in the sky glanced over and didn't pay much attention to them. Hey! That is. Ren Xingchen raised his head and took a look. When he saw Wang Xian and the rest flying over to him, he was slightly stunned. Sir. He quickly went up and greeted Wang Xian respectfully. Why are you here? Wang Xian looked at Ren Xingchen and asked him. Sir, I'm here for revenge. Ren Xingchen did not hide anything and said to Wang Xian. Revenge? Your enemy is from this Atlas sword sect. Wang Xian's gaze swept across the huge sword mountain and frowned slightly. No, it's the Wu clan from ancient Dharma City. Back then, our Ren family had a business dispute with them. They plotted to annihilate more than 1,000 members of our Ren family. I was the only one who escaped. Ren Xingchen shook his head and looked at a ship on the right. His eyes were filled with hatred and killing intent. Wang Xian looked over. It was a blue ship that was about 1,000 meters in size. On the side of the ship, there was a huge Wu character. There were over 400 people standing on the ship. In the middle of the ship was an old man. The old man was dressed in a green robe. The huge Wu character was located on his chest. 3rd level of the void interpretation stage. Wang Xian mumbled as he looked at Ren Xingchen. Are you confident? If it wasn't for the fact that I would be attacked by the mayor's residents if I were to kill people in the city, I would have destroyed them long ago. Ren Xingchen gritted his teeth. I'm confident that I can destroy them all by myself. Are you prepared to make a move here? Wang Xian asked. Ren Xingchen nodded and looked behind him. He said coldly, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the arrival of a family to inquire about some things. Have you made a plan? Wang Xian asked Ren Xingchen. I have made a plan. This is my only chance for more than half a month. I can't let them live anymore. As long as it's not a battle on the towering Skysword Mountain, the towering Skysword sect will not interfere. Ren Xingchen nodded his head heavily. All right, you'll have to depend on yourself. Wang Xian nodded his head faintly and flew towards the ship that Ren Xingchen was flying towards. If you want to step onto the ship, each of you will get 1,000 middle-grade spirit stones. Wang Xian landed and a middle-aged man walked over and said coldly. The civil official of the Dragon Palace waved his arm and passed all the spirit stones to the ship owner. Ren Xingchen jumped onto the ship and stood at the side. He held the sword without saying a word and kept wiping it. The sword was the golden water heaven-raising sword that Wang Xian gifted him back then. Its name was quite related to the heaven-raising sword sect. Let's change to another weapon. This sword doesn't match your strength anymore. Wang Xian waved his arm and a 3rd-level void interpretation sword of the golden water attribute landed gently beside Ren Xingchen. Thank you, sir. Ren Xingchen was slightly taken aback. He nodded respectfully at Wang Xian and opened the sword that Wang Xian had given him again. There was gratitude and passion in his eyes. I will use this sword to kill the enemy. Ren Xingchen smiled coldly. Wang Xian took a glance at Ren Xingchen and shifted his gaze to the side. Time passed slowly. Clang. At this moment, Wang Xian heard the sound of a sharp sword being unsheathed. He looked over. He looked at Ren Xingqian's slightly red eyes as he stared at a ship that was approaching slowly. The ship and the ship of the Wu clan were close together. The people on the two ships were laughing and chatting. It's here. I've been waiting for this day for a long time. Day and night, I've been waiting for this day. Ren Xingqian held the long sword in his hand tightly as he paced in the air and slowly walked towards the two ships. Chapter 1465. 1465 could not be kept. Clan leader Wu, we are so sorry that we are late. On the North Flow Sea, in front of the towering Sky Sword sect, a ship approached the ship of the Wu clan. Dozens of middle-aged elders and young men walked out from the ship. The one who spoke was an old man. Beside the old man was a woman. The woman had delicate features and looked graceful and beautiful. Haha, it's not too late, it's not too late. Congratulations to clan leader Song, congratulations to little Wan. She was directly taken in as a disciple by the elders of the towering Sky Sword sect. She didn't even need to take the test. On the ship of the Wu clan, an old man laughed out loud. His gaze swept over the woman beside the clan leader, and his face was full of smiles. Haha, with Wu Jiangming's young master Wu Jiangchuan's strength, passing the towering Sky Sword sect's test would be a piece of cake. In the future, we'll be a family. Clan leader Wu, you don't have to be so polite. Clan leader Song said happily. However, after he finished speaking, clan leader Wu's face darkened. The expressions of the people of the Wu clan on the ship also didn't look good. Clan leader Song and the others were slightly stunned. They looked at the people of the Wu clan on the ship. What's wrong, clan leader Wu? Did I say something wrong? Oh right, where is young master Wu Jiangchuan? Clan leader Song saw the unsightly expressions of clan leader Wu and the others and asked cautiously. There was an accident. Ever since Jiang Chuan left the city, he hasn't returned. In addition, dozens of our Wu clan's disciples haven't returned. The Wu clan's elder said with a gloomy face. What? Young master Jiang Chuan actually, in ancient Law City, who dares to be your Wu clan's enemy? This is simply. Clan head Song's face revealed an astonished expression as he exclaimed in shock. Peng peng peng. However, just as he finished speaking, one thing after another smashed onto the ship, producing a peng peng sound. This is young master Wu Jiangchuan's head. Heavens, this is? Who is it? When everyone on the ship heard the sound and looked over, their eyes widened and their faces revealed furious expressions. There were more than 30 heads in total, and all of them were disciples of the Wu clan. 33 heads of the Wu clan. I, Ren Xingqian, am back. A voice came from the side. Ren Xingqian. Everyone turned to look, their expressions extremely cold. Ren Xingqian? Ren Xingqian of the Ren clan? Everyone from the Song clan hurriedly turned their heads, and when they saw Ren Xingqian floating in front of the ship, holding a long sword in his hand, their expressions changed slightly. Ren Xingqian. You're actually still alive. Aren't you? The woman beside clan leader Song widened her eyes and opened her mouth slightly as she stared at him in shock. Did you think that I would die in the North Flowing Sea, Song Wan? Ren Xingqian stared at the woman as he mocked her with an ice-cold expression. I thought that you were already dead. Song Wan was clearly panicking. She stared at him with sparkling eyes. Hehe. Your Song clan is really interesting. You, Song Wan, are also very interesting. Our two clans have made an engagement. You are my fiancé. I didn't expect that when I set foot on this land again, I would find out that you had become the daughter-in-law of the Wu clan and married the clan that destroyed our Ren clan. Right now, I really want to know if the destruction of our Ren clan has anything to do with your Song clan. Ren Xingqian asked Song Wan and the Song clan with a cold expression. Bastard, you actually dared to kill our Wu clan's disciple. You little bastard, I didn't expect you to still be alive. At this moment, a terrifying killing intent charged towards Ren Xingqian. Several hundred people from the Wu clan stared at Ren Xingqian with faces full of killing intent. The killing intent from the Wu clan's clan leader, who was standing in the middle, seemed to be corporeal. When Ren Xingqian heard the Wu clan's clan leaders shout and felt the terrifying killing intent, his expression also turned grim. He stared at everyone from the Song clan and said, "Speak, did you participate in the matter of exterminating my Ren clan?" "Xingqian, I didn't expect you to not die. The past is already in the past. It's not good for you to live in seclusion quietly. Why did you come back? Why did you kill the disciples of the Wu clan? You shouldn't have." A middle-aged man beside the Song clan leader shook his head slowly and said to him, "Haha, I finally know the answer." Ren Xingqian laughed. His smile was filled with coldness. I see. Ren Xingqian, you should have found a remote place. You should never have come back. Do you really think that you are still that young master of the Ren clan?" Song Wn said to Ren Xingqian with an embarrassed expression. "Yes, I am no longer that young master of the Ren clan." Ren Xingqian stood there expressionlessly and stared at Song Wn coldly. "HMPH, did you see that? This is the Sky High Sword Sect's admission certificate. This is what you wanted the most in the past. Now, I've done it." Song Wn took out a token with a cold expression and snorted coldly. "What's the point of talking too much with this bastard? He actually dared to kill our Wu clan's disciple. I'll kill him," an elder said with a body full of killing intent. Before he finished speaking, he stretched out his palm and directly attacked Ren Xingqian. "Today, I'll tear you, this little bastard, into 10,000 pieces." Boom. A terrifying aura at the first level of the profound void tier was directly emitted. At a distance of 100 meters, a flash appeared in front of Ren Xingqian. "Go to hell," he growled in a low voice and wanted to grab Ren Xingqian's neck with his palm. "I am no longer the young man that you can chase and kill as you wish." Wang Xian stared at the old man expressionlessly. A terrifying sharpness shot out from his eyes. Whoosh! The sound of a sharp sword rang out. The old man's body that was charging forward instantly stiffened. Following that, a head soared into the sky and flew towards the ship of the Wu clan. "What? This beast actually killed 7th Master. How is this possible?" When everyone from the Wu clan and Song clan saw Ren Xingqian instantly kill a level 1 profound void martial artist, everyone's eyes widened and their faces were filled with shock. The Wu clan's 7th Master was an expert at the profound void martial stage. How old was Ren Xingqian? He was not even 40 years old this year, yet he was able to kill a level 1 profound void martial artist. Even in a first-rate force, or even in a super force, he was considered a top-notch heaven's favored son. He had only disappeared for more than 2 years. How could he be so strong? What? He was actually able to kill a rank 1 profound void martial artist. On the ship, Song Wn saw Ren Xingqian kill a rank 1 profound void martial artist with a single sword strike, and her face turned slightly pale. This was a void interpretation expert, and her current strength was only at half-step void interpretation. Even so, she thought that she was already a rare genius that was hard to come by in 10 years. However, compared to Ren Xingqian, her previous fiancé, there was actually such a huge gap. When she thought of how she had said that she had obtained the towering Sky Sword Sect's admission certificate, her face was filled with shame and anger. Chapter 1466. 1466. This child cannot be left behind. Kill him, kill this beast. An angry roar sounded in front of the northern flowing sea Sky High Sword Sect. The Wu clan's patriarch stared at Ren Xingqian with a furious expression and roared ferociously. This child must not be left behind. To be able to kill a profound void first-rank expert at such a young age, such a talented genius becoming enemies with the Wu clan was a huge hidden danger to the Wu clan. Hey! What's going on? Why is there a sudden fight over there? It seems to be the Wu clan from the ancient magic city. Who is that young man? The Wu clan's influence isn't weak. A young man is going against the Wu clan. This is simply courting death. The Wu clan's clan leader's roar attracted the attention of everyone around. The other forces that had brought their clan disciples over looked over and revealed astonished expressions. There seems to be someone fighting at the entrance of our Sky High Sword Sec. Let them fight. It's just a small group of people fighting and some people dying. Don't worry about it. If we guard the entrance here, we'll be able to see a fight. Not bad, not bad. At the entrance of Sky High Sword Sect, 2 disciples who were guarding the entrance looked over with smiles on their faces. They looked as if they were watching a show, as if they did not care at all. Kill. On the ship of the Wu clan, 4 to 5 insightful Void Tier experts attacked Ren Xingchen without any hesitation. This child must not be allowed to escape. In the entire Wu clan, there were around 10 insightful Void Tier experts who were at level 3. 5 insightful Void Tier experts charged over, including 2 at level 2. In a city, this power would be considered a top-tier power. I really didn't expect this kid to have reached this level, to be able to kill a first-level insightful Emptiness Realm expert. In the position of the Song clan, the clan leader of the Song clan also stared at Ren Xingchen with a face full of surprise. That was only because that Wu clan expert didn't use his full strength. He was caught off guard and was killed. Now, he's dead for sure. Song Wan's expression was unsightly as she spoke from the side. No matter how peerless his magnificence is, he is still too young. The Song clan's clan leader at the side slowly nodded his head. However, very quickly, something that shocked him happened. I have returned this time to exterminate all of your Wu clan's people. Ren Xingchen looked at the 5 profound void martial experts that were attacking him, and a ghastly expression appeared on his face. The long sword in his hand trembled, and the 2 types of energy, gold and water, directly attacked the 5 people. Gold and water, that moment of brilliance. He lightly shouted, and a ray of gold and blue light directly swept forward. Not good, his strength is very strong, and he's not only at the first level of the insightful Emptiness Realm. An old man in the center sensed the attack of the 2 colors of gold and water, and his expression changed greatly, and he warned loudly in panic. Die. Ren Xingchen's face revealed a cold expression. The 2 elemental divine ability once again attacked. The bottom was water, and the top was gold. 2 rays of light attacked. I don't believe that a little bastard like you can be my opponent. A vicious expression appeared on the face of an old man at rank 2 profound void martial stage. The golden energy of the sharp sword directly charged forward. Hong. The sea water exploded, and the golden sword directly dissipated in the air. The golden light continued to charge out. Of the 2 attacks, the Elder's golden sword was unable to block even one. Be careful. The Elder's face was filled with shock as he hurriedly shouted out. Shit, how is this possible? Blade ring. The Wu clan leader's expression also changed greatly, as a golden blade instantly appeared in his hand, and he went to support the 5 clan members. However, even if he was the first to help, the 3 clan members of the first rank of the profound void martial stage did not have the slightest ability to resist the golden water's attack. The other 2 Wu clan experts of the second rank of the profound void martial stage had red faces as they resisted. If it was not for the broadsword ring that appeared in front of them, they would also be in deep trouble. Although Ren Xingchen's current strength was only at the second rank of the profound void martial stage, under the golden water dual cultivation, he could completely surpass his level to fight. Third level of the profound void martial stage, little bastard, you actually have the strength of the third level of the profound void martial stage. The Wu clan's clan leader roared with a face full of fear. Third level of the profound void martial stage, this was the third level of the profound void martial stage, and his own strength was only SOSO. Back then, the strongest member of the Ren clan was only at the third level of the profound void martial stage. Now, this remnant of the Ren clan, who was not even 40 years old, actually also possessed the strength of the third level of the profound void martial stage. Just thinking about it made him feel somewhat terrifying. Today, I will exterminate your Wu clan and take revenge for everyone in my Ren clan. Ren Xingchen roared with a face full of killing intent. Dharma idol, golden water flowing sand. Without the slightest hesitation, he directly unleashed his strongest attack and attacked the Wu clan's clan leader. Little bastard, even if you obtain a great opportunity, today, I will still kill you. The Wu clan leader roared with a ferocious expression. He raised the long saber in his hand and also unleashed his Dharma idol. Boom. A violent collision caused both of them to retreat a few hundred meters. Wu clan leader, I want you to watch as your Wu clan members die one by one. Ren Xingqian gripped the long sword in his hand tightly and controlled his Dharma idol to charge forward once again. This time, his target was the Wu clan's ship. Damn it, you little bastard, you're courting death. The Wu clan's leader's expression changed drastically when he saw Ren Xingqian charging towards his clansmen. Not good, run quickly. He actually has the strength of a third-level void interpretation expert. Let's run quickly. When the more than 400 people of the Wu clan saw Ren Xingqian's target on them, their faces were filled with shock. They did not have the strength to resist the attack of a rank 3 profound void martial expert. Even the aftershocks of the battle could kill them. Hong hong. RRR. Two terrifying sounds of collision rang out. One was Ren Xingqian blocking the attack of the Wu clan leader, while the other was his attack landing on the ship of the Wu clan. The destructive attack caused the 400 people of the Wu clan to lose more than half of their forces. The entire ship slowly cracked under his attack. All the people of the Song clan were terrified when they saw this scene. This isn't real. How could he have the strength of a level 3 profound void martial artist? The Song clan leader and Song Wn fled to the ship of the Song clan in fear. They watched the battle in shock. Ren Xingqian was a level 3 profound void martial artist. This was impossible. What? That young man is actually a third-level profound void martial expert. My God, how could there be such a young expert? His talent is unparalleled in the entire Liuhai region. Which faction's young man is from? Which clan is the Ren clan from? Even the heavens-favored son of the vast region can't compare to him. Sounds of shock could be heard from the surrounding areas. Even the 10 or so disciples at the entrance of the towering sky sword sect widened their eyes, filled with shock. This strength, the eldest senior brother of the younger generation of their towering sky sword sect, was only at the first level of the profound void tier. Chapter 1467. 1467 The destruction of 1467 Second-Rate Force 1. Boom. 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 While Ren Xingqian was dodging the attack of the Wu clan leader, he was killing the Wu clan members wantonly. While everyone around was watching the battle in shock, the gate of the towering sky sword sect slowly opened. 2 old men and a woman walked in the center, followed by a group of middle-aged men. When the gate of the sword sect opened and everyone walked out, the high-ranking officials and disciples of the towering sky sword sect frowned slightly. There was no respectful voice, not even the voice of the disciples guarding the gate. The 2 old men and the woman looked over with displeasure, and found that more than 10 disciples were looking into the distance with shocked faces. Jian Qingjian Wen, what are you doing? Behind them, a middle-aged man saw the displeasure on the 3 old men's faces and hurriedly shouted at the disciples who did not know what was going on. Elders, deacons, senior brothers. More than 10 disciples who were guarding the gate reacted and turned around to see the elders. They hurriedly bowed. What's going on? I told you to guard the gate, but you can't even guard it properly. I think you. The middle-aged man berated them sternly. The old man at the side waved his hand. The middle-aged man immediately stopped and glared at the crowd. What happened? The old man in the middle looked forward and asked curiously. Today, the towering sky sword sect opened its mountain gate to recruit disciples. The surrounding clans and aristocratic families within a radius of more than 1,000 kilometers swarmed over. When the mountain gate was opened, this scene appeared, causing them to be somewhat curious. Reporting to Elder, there are people fighting ahead. A disciple hurriedly said. Oh, fighting. Don't bother about them. Our towering sky sword sect's disciple recruitment process has begun. That elder shook his head indifferently. Elder. That disciple hesitated for a moment before continuing. The battle over there is between a young man and the Wu clan of ancient Magic City. Right now, besides the Wu clan's patriarch, almost all the other clansmen in ancient Magic City have been killed. A young man. The elder was slightly taken aback as he asked in surprise. That's right, it's a young man. He's only in his 30s and has the strength of a third-level profound void martial artist. The disciple hurriedly nodded his head. What? The 3 elders at the very front revealed expressions of shock. Their bodies moved as they directly floated in the air, looking towards the center of the battle. The rest of the people also flew up into the sky curiously, their gazes fixed over. I really didn't expect that young man to have killed almost all the members of the Wu clan. This young man's strength is at the second level of the profound void tier, but he has dual cultivation of both metal and water attributes. Heavens, this is simply abnormal. Monstrous, simply too monstrous. The Wu clan provoked such an enemy, and sooner or later, they will be exterminated. I heard that young man is a disciple of the Ren clan that the Wu clan exterminated a few years ago. His dual cultivation has even reached the second level of the profound void martial stage. Even in our vast sea region, he will shine brilliantly. The three elders of the towering Sky Sword sect had just flown into the sky when they heard the shocked voices of several experts from the surroundings. In the surroundings, even those 4th or 5th level profound void martial stage experts were staring at the scene with faces full of shock. The three elders looked over and their pupils contracted. What exquisite swordsmanship! What a powerful dual attribute usage! What monstrous talent! 3 exclamations sounded from their mouths and the eyes of the 3 elders flickered. If we can recruit him into our sky-high sword sect, just recruiting him alone would be equivalent to recruiting a few thousand. The old man in the middle, Shuangyang, spoke with some fervor. Such a monster should be nurtured by an expert. The woman next to him frowned. Clan leader Wu is going to be defeated. The Wu clan is really going to be destroyed. At this moment, a surprised voice came from the front. Everyone looked over at the same time. At a height of 1,000 meters above the ocean, there were countless golden and blue longswords covering a radius of 1,000 meters. Countless longswords attacked the Wu clan leader in the middle. Ah, you little bastard, no, no. In the sky, the Wu clan leader shouted in fear. 10,000 golden swords. Ren Xingchen roared and all the longswords attacked the Wu clan leader. Pu, pu, pu. Tens of thousands of long swords pierced through one body and broke into pieces. Hiss, terrifying. Although he relied on a formation during the battle just now, his strength is absolutely terrifying. When the surrounding people saw this scene, their faces revealed a look of shock and bewilderment. Who? Ren Xingchen slightly panted, and his gaze slowly stared at the ship of the Song clan. When his gaze landed, the faces of all the Song clan members changed drastically, and their bodies couldn't help but take a step back. Their strength was much weaker than the Wu clan's. The strongest among them was only at the second level of the profound void tier. If Ren Xingchen wanted to destroy them, it would be a piece of cake. Clang! Ren Xingchen slowly moved the long sword in his hand. He looked at the Song clan's ship and slowly flew over. Next, it's your turn. His cold voice covered all the Song clan members, causing their faces to instantly turn extremely pale. Xingchen, our Song clan did not participate in the matter of exterminating your clan. It was all done by the Wu clan. It has nothing to do with us. The Song clan's clan leader was no longer as high-spirited as before. He cried out involuntarily. Then you didn't say that just now. Ren Xingchen stared at them with killing intent. Gulp. The Song clan's clan leader swallowed a mouthful of saliva. His voice trembled as he said, just now, we said the wrong thing. I'd rather kill the wrong person than let you go. So, you have to die too. Ren Xingchen said as he shook the long sword in his hand. No, you can't kill me, you can't kill me. Song Wn shouted at Ren Xingchen with a terrified face. Hey, isn't that little girl the one you like, Elder Qi? At this moment, an old man in the sky above the towering Sky Sword sect looked at the woman beside him and asked. That's right. I've taken a fancy to a girl. Her talent is extremely rare among women. Elder Qi frowned slightly. Today, all of you will die. Ren Xingchen's cold voice sounded. He waved the long sword in his hand and numerous powerful sharp swords shot towards the Song clan. Buzz. Elder Qi hesitated for a moment. He waved his arm and a huge sword charged forward. Bang, bang, bang. The sound of sharp swords clashing could be heard. All of Ren Xingchen's attacks were blocked. What's going on? Who made a move? When the surrounding people saw that the huge sword had easily blocked all of Ren Xingqian's attacks, they were slightly stunned. They quickly looked behind them. That is, when everyone looked over, their pupils constricted slightly and a respectful expression appeared on their faces. This little brother, Song Wan, is already a disciple of our Atlas Sword Sect. Elder Qi floated over, and the elders and deacon disciples on both sides immediately followed behind. Chapter 1468. 1468 The Destruction of 1468 Second-Rate Force 2. The three elders of the Sky High Sword Sect. The Sky High Sword Sect actually came out. That woman has already been accepted as a disciple by Elder Qi. That woman is a disciple of the Sky High Sword Sect. The Sky High Sword Sect can't possibly watch her be killed. When Elder Qi's voice sounded, everyone's faces were filled with astonishment. Elders. Elders. However, very quickly, all the surrounding aristocratic families hurriedly greeted the three elders of the towering Sky Sword Sect respectfully. The three elders of the towering Sky Sword Sect slowly nodded their heads and looked at Ren Xingqian. Elder Qi. Song Wan saw Elder Qi and the group of elders and experts of the towering Sky Sword Sect coming over. Her face revealed an excited expression as she hurriedly shouted. Elder Qi glanced at her and slowly nodded his head. His gaze continued to look at Ren Xingqian. You want to stop me from taking revenge? Ren Xingqian's expression changed slightly when he saw the group of experts flying over. He stared at them with a dark expression. This little brother is taking revenge. Naturally, we won't stop you. May I ask if little brother has joined any other factions? Elder Qi asked Ren Xingqian with a smile. What? What does the towering Sky Sword Sect mean? They want to recruit this young man. Fuck. If this young man really joins the towering Sky Sword Sect and he exterminates the Wu clan today, he will definitely be famous everywhere. When the surrounding people heard Elder Qi's words, they were shocked and stared at Ren Xingqian. I have a sect. Ren Xingqian hesitated for a moment and said expressionlessly. A sect. His words caused the three elders of the towering Sky Sword Sect to frown slightly and feel a little disappointed. I wonder what kind of sect is able to nurture such an outstanding disciple. It must be one of the big forces in the vast region, an elder beside him slowly asked. It's not convenient to tell. Ren Xingqian looked at them, furrowing his brows without leaving a trace. Didn't you escape to the Flowing Sea region? Why did you join a large faction? At the side, when Song Wan heard his words, her expression fluctuated as she loudly shouted. It has nothing to do with a dying person like you. When Ren Xingqian heard her shout, his eyes were filled with killing intent as he roared. Flowing Sea region? However, Song Wan's words caused the Sky High Sword Sect and the surrounding aristocratic families to be slightly stunned. Flowing Sea region, that tiny place? It seems like the 6th level of the Profound Void tier is the strongest there. Is this little brother joining the forces in Flowing Sea region? An elder's eyes revealed a glimmer as he asked with a smile. Ren Xingqian glanced at them but didn't say anything. His silence made the three elders, who had lived for more than 1,000 years, even more certain. Little brother, a small place is not a place for a heaven's favorite like you. Staying there will only limit your advancement. Why don't you join our Atlas Sword Sect? At that time, with your talent, our sect master will personally guide you. How about it? Elder Qi said to Ren Xingqian with a smile on his face. No need. I won't betray my sect. Ren Xingqian replied expressionlessly. Little brother, if you stay in the Flowing Sea region, it will be very difficult for you to reach the 6th or 7th level of the Profound Void tier in your lifetime. However, it will be different in the vast region. You can swim freely in the vast sea, fly freely in the sky, and join the Atlas Sword Sect. With the guidance of a 7th level of the Profound Void tier expert, this is your stage. The patriarch of a nearby clan tried to persuade Ren Xingqian. Everyone, please don't stop me from taking revenge. Ren Xingqian did not answer the patriarch. He raised the sharp sword in his hand again and said indifferently. Seeing Ren Xingqian's determined look, the three elders frowned slightly. Ren Xingqian, how dare you? Elder Qi, I beg you to save our Song clan. Song Wn saw Ren Xingchen raise the sharp sword in his hand and immediately knelt down towards Elder Qi with a terrified expression on her face as she pleaded loudly. All the people and powers in the surroundings looked over with flickering eyes. Little brother, Song Wn is a disciple of our towering Sky Sword sect. You can't kill her. You've already killed the enemy of your clan. You're not sure if the Song clan is involved. Give our towering Sky Sword sect some face and let it go just like that. Elder Qi glanced around and said to Ren Xingchen calmly, "See this? This is the benefit of joining the towering Sky Sword sect. Son, you must join. The Song family is really lucky." A daughter of the Song family was accepted as a disciple by Elder Qi in advance, and now she has saved their entire family's life. The towering Sky Sword sect is famous for being protective of their disciples. This is also the reason why so many people are risking their lives to join the towering Sky Sword sect. When the surrounding aristocratic families heard Elder Qi's words, their faces were filled with smiles. The reason why the towering Sky Sword sect was able to attract so many aristocratic families to join the sect was not only because they were relatively powerful. There was also another reason for them to be protective of their disciples. If you became a disciple of the Atlas Sword sect, you would not have to fear anyone within a 1,000-kilometer radius. Even if you made a mistake or even killed someone outside, only the Atlas Sword sect would be able to judge you. Even the local city lord would not be qualified. You would feel a sense of belonging when you entered. Although the Atlas Sword sect had many arrogant and despotic disciples, this made many people yearn for it. You want to stop me from taking revenge? When Ren Xingchen heard her words, her face was slightly embarrassed. We only made a fair judgment, Elder Qi said indifferently. Judgment? My entire clan was exterminated. Do I need you to make a judgment? Ren Xingchen's body was slightly trembling, and her face was somewhat malevolent as she asked. What's wrong? Whatever our elders say, it's the same. At this moment, a dignified-looking young man stood out from behind the three elders and stared coldly at Ren Xingchen. As the eldest senior brother of the young generation of the towering Sky Sword sect, the most outstanding disciple, and a disciple that the sect had specially nurtured. When he saw the three elders so politely recruiting a young man who was even more monstrous than him, his expression turned ugly. If Ren Xingchen really joined the Atlas Sword sect, then his eldest senior brother's position would be lost. Fortunately, the other party did not agree. Now it seemed that he actually dared to question the elders. He had long been displeased, so he directly stood out. Our elders see that you are a talent that can be molded, so we are so polite to talk to you. Do you really think that you are a peerless expert? He continued to speak to Ren Xingchen. All right. Ren Xingchen saw the young man's mockery. He held the long sword in his hand tightly and swept his gaze across the entire Qingtian sword sect and the Song clan with a gloomy expression. What? You still want to include our Qingtian sword sect with such a strong killing intent? The young man saw Wang Xian's gloomy expression and said mockingly, Phew, I will remember what happened today. There will be plenty of time in the future. Ren Xingchen took a deep breath, put his long sword back into its scabbard, and turned around to leave. Kid, our Atlas Sword sect doesn't like threats from others. At this moment, an elder's cold voice came from behind. Chapter 1469. 1469 The Destruction of 1469 Second-Rate Force 3. Kid, our towering Sky Sword sect doesn't like threats from others. A voice came from Elder Qi's mouth. When the voice sounded, Ren Xingchen's body stiffened, and his lowered head had a ferocious expression on his face. Hey! The surrounding people were also slightly shocked, and their eyes flickered as they looked at the three elders of the towering Sky Sword sect. A trace of excitement flashed across Song Wan's and the Song clan's eyes. Elder Qi and the other two glanced at each other. It was obvious that they had already made a decision. They saw Ren Xingchen's attitude. This made them very unhappy, and killing intent grew in their hearts. They saw Ren Xingchen's strength and monstrous talent. Originally, they wanted to invite him to join the towering Sky Sword sect. If he agreed to join, they wouldn't say anything even if he destroyed the Song clan. But since he was unwilling to join the Atlas Sword sect and left with such an attitude, they definitely wouldn't let him go. This monstrous genius was able to endure for 2 years, and after his strength greatly increased, he came to destroy the Wu clan and Song clan that had killed their clan. Then, if one day his strength increased, would he take revenge on the Atlas Sword sect? This was not impossible. In order to prevent such a thing from happening, they were prepared to destroy him. Whether he was a monster or a heaven's favorite, so what? Before he grew up, he was just an ant in their eyes. Moreover, this heaven's favorite did not have a powerful backer. If he had a powerful sect, they might be a little afraid. But now, a heaven's favorite from the Flowing Sea region had joined the Flowing Sea region. To be arrogant, they could not only destroy Ren Xingqian. Even destroying the sect behind him would be a piece of cake. This was the confidence of their towering Sky Sword sect. Ren Xingqian turned around stiffly and looked at the 3 elders of the towering Sky Sword sect with an embarrassed expression. He took a deep breath. "Elders, are you trying to get rid of me?" he asked with an embarrassed expression. His eyes flickered as he scanned his surroundings. "Our towering Sky Sword sect doesn't like trouble, and we don't want to cause trouble in the future." Elder Qi stared at Ren Xingqian indifferently and said, "You guys are really overbearing. I want revenge, and it involves your sect's disciples. You guys don't agree. Now, I want to leave, but in the end, you still want to keep me here. How overbearing." Ren Xingqian gritted his teeth and said with an embarrassed expression, "You're the one who's arrogant. You're the one who's courting death. You actually dared to stir up trouble when the towering Sky Sword sect opened its sect to recruit disciples." Song Wn looked at Ren Xingqian and said with a gloating expression, her eyes filled with pride, "Elders, you don't have to do anything about this. Leave it to the Li family." A 3rd-level profound void martial stage kid. Although his talent isn't bad, the Atlas Sword sect doesn't need to mobilize so many people. He doesn't have the qualifications. At this moment, a Li family patriarch walked out with a smile on his face. He looked at Ren Xingqian, his eyes filled with shock, sympathy, and coldness. If he could kill a kid and make the towering Sky Sword sect owe them a favor, it would be totally worth it. Moreover, from their conversation just now, they had completely understood that although Ren Xingqian's strength was monstrous, he had no backer behind him. If he killed him, so be it. "Elder Qi, our Ming family is also willing to do it for you." 3 elders, call our Zhao family for this matter. Don't let others say that the towering Sky Sword sect is bullying a kid. Just as the Li clan's patriarch finished speaking, a few experts from the aristocratic families immediately came out. Obviously, they were all trying to curry favor with the towering Sky Sword sect. "Hee, you can do whatever you want. Our towering Sky Sword sect doesn't care about this matter." The 3 elders saw the experts from the surrounding families coming out one after another and smiled as they nodded. Since there was someone helping them, they didn't make a move to prevent others from gossiping. These guys. When the Li family's patriarch saw another 3 forces walking out, he was slightly displeased. They were a bunch of dogs. It would be great if the Li family could lick them alone. "Brat, you dare to kill people in front of the towering Sky Sword sect and sully the Holy Land. My Li family will kill you here today." The Li family's patriarch moved his palm and a huge axe immediately appeared in his hand. He looked down at Wang Xian and judged him. He was a powerhouse at level 4 of the see-through realm. It was easy for him to kill a heaven's favorite who had the combat strength of level 3 of the see-through realm. "Let our Ming family take his dog head." At this moment, the powerhouse of the Ming family moved. A sharp sword was aimed at Ren Xingqian. At this moment, he was like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. Everyone wanted to kill him first. "Damn it. His head is mine." The Li family patriarch cursed in his heart. Then, he raised the huge axe in his hand and slashed at Ren Xingqian. "Haha, I hope you can withstand one of their attacks. We're here too." The other force wasn't willing to be left behind. A rank 4 void interpretation expert attacked. "This kid is Finnish. What a pity. A rank 2 profound void martial genius in his 30s died just like that. It's also because this guy is a bit arrogant. He doesn't have any background. When he meets the elders of the towering Sky Sword sect, he doesn't know how to be more respectful." A nearby aristocratic family that had brought their disciples here sighed and discussed softly when they saw this scene. So what if you have the strength of the third level of the see-through realm? Aren't you still being killed? The heavens are going to kill you. Song Wan and the eldest senior brother of the towering Sky Sword sect watched this scene with excitement. No matter how magnificent you are, how talented you are, or how you offended a powerful force, you will still die. This is the first time I've seen such a tyrannical force. Wang Xian stood about 1,000 meters away. When he saw this scene, his eyes turned cold. Ren Xingqian was merely here for revenge. He didn't offend the Atlas Sword sect in the slightest, but he was about to be killed by the Atlas Sword sect. He's strong. He can really do whatever he wants. Perfect. I originally needed to find a place to settle down. This is it. Wang Xian narrowed his eyes slightly and looked at Ao Jian, who was at the side. Ao Jian nodded his head slowly and gave an order to his subordinates. Clang, 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 clang. The sound of a sharp sword being unsheathed could be heard. Die, your head is mine. In the middle, the leader of the Li family shouted at Ren Xingqian with a ferocious look on his face. He swung his huge axe at Ren Xingqian. You guys are pretty fast. The other three experts at the fourth level of the see-through realm frowned slightly. The speed in their hands also increased. You! Ren Xingqian gritted his teeth, and a trace of blood spilled out. His eyes were slightly bloodshot. However, when he heard the sound of sharp swords coming from behind, his tensed nerves relaxed a little. You are the ones who died. Chapter 1470. 1470 The destruction of 1470 second-rate forces 4. You're the ones who will die. In front of Ren Xingqian, the Li clan leader and the other four experts at the profound void tier attacked at an extreme speed. The four of them were like a cat catching a mouse, wanting to be the first to behead Ren Xingqian. However, just as they rushed into the air, a cold voice sounded. The voice was emotionless, like the sound of a sharp sword colliding. Who is it? The Li clan leader who was rushing forward instantly felt a terrifying sharp light rushing towards his heart, causing the expression of the body that was rushing forward to change slightly, and he hurriedly swept his surroundings. The expressions of the other three fourth-level profound void martial experts also changed slightly, revealing a vigilant expression. Be careful. At this moment, the three elders of the towering Sky Sword sect, who were standing at the back and watching everything proudly, saw the four golden figures, and their expressions changed slightly. Hey! Around them, the 5,000 to 6,000 people gathered nearby, as well as the people from the 20 to 30 aristocratic families, were slightly shocked, their gazes fixed on them. There are four figures rushing over. An expert at the fifth rank of the profound void martial stage had a solemn expression as he spoke in a low voice. Who? This fellow's accomplice? The Li clan's clan leader and the other three clan leaders' expressions also changed slightly as they hurriedly raised their heads to look. Pu. However, before the four of them could react, four golden long swords that were exactly the same arrived at their necks. The sound of sharp swords entering their heads could be heard, and in an instant, four heads flew up. What? When they saw the Li clan leader and the other four rank 4 profound void martial artists being killed in an instant, everyone had shocked expressions on their faces. Four middle-aged men holding long swords appeared in front of everyone. They held golden long swords, and there wasn't a single trace of blood on their swords. One kill. The four of them stood in front of Ren Xingqian, without any expression on their faces, as if they were killing machines. The golden swordfish that had already cultivated the heartless sword principle had no feelings at this stage. Only when they had cultivated the heartless sword principle to the great success stage would they be able to restrain their feelings. Such powerful strength. They killed the Li family's patriarch and the other two in one move. They must be 5th level void interpretation expert. Who are these four young men? The surrounding experts and disciples of the aristocratic families were shocked when they saw the Li family leader and the rest being killed instantly. They stared at them in astonishment. The Li family and the three people who attacked earlier had a drastic change in expression when they saw this scene. They were extremely embarrassed. Song Wan and the Song family were even more stunned. Senior. Ren Xingqian saw the four of them standing in front of him. Naturally, he knew that it was Wang Xian who asked them to attack. He bowed respectfully to the four golden swordfish of the fourth level of the see-through realm and thanked them. Who are you? When the three elders of the towering sky sword sect saw the four golden swordfish that suddenly appeared, their expressions changed slightly and revealed a serious expression. The four of them before them had the strength of the fifth level of the see-through realm and were on the same level as them. I just arrived at the vast region and already saw such an overbearing sect. Hee. Wang Xian walked over slowly in the air with a group of golden swordfish following behind him. The three elders of the Atlas Sword sect immediately looked at Wang Xian and glanced at the group of golden swordfish beside him. They frowned slightly and their eyes flashed with coldness. The rest of the people around also shifted their gaze to Wang Xian. They were filled with astonishment. What faction are you guys from? Elder Qi looked at Wang Xian and all the golden swordfish behind him and asked with a solemn face. A small faction from a small place. Wang Xian raised his head and looked at Elder Qi. He said with a smile on his face. Sir, you saved my life again. Ren Xingqian looked at Wang Xian and bowed to express his gratitude. Wang Xian shook his head lightly. A faction in the Liuhai region? The three elders of the towering sky sword sect raised their eyebrows and looked at each other before asking coldly. There's no need to wait any longer for revenge. If anyone dares to stop you, I will kill him. Wang Xian ignored the three elders and spoke to Ren Xingqian calmly. Thank you, sir. Ren Xingqian nodded his head gratefully. He held the long sword in his hand tightly again and stared at the Song clan. When the three elders of the Atlas Sword sect saw that Wang Xian was ignoring them, they looked a little embarrassed. When they heard his words, their faces turned cold as well. The faces of everyone from the Song clan changed slightly as well. What does that young man mean? Why is he going against the Atlas Sword sect? A force from the Liuhai region? He dares to challenge the Atlas Sword sect? Does he not know the strength of the Atlas Sword sect? When the surrounding aristocratic families heard Wang Xian's words, they were slightly stunned as they spoke in astonishment. However, while everyone was in a daze, Ren Xingqian, who was standing in the middle, started to move. He held the long sword in his hand tightly and attacked the people of the Song clan directly. Elder Qi, save us. Song Wan's expression changed drastically when she saw Ren Xingqian attacking them directly. She quickly exclaimed. Frog at the bottom of a well, are you trying to make an enemy out of our Atlas Sword sect? When Elder Qi saw Ren Xingqian attacking him directly, a murderous look appeared on his face. He questioned Wang Xian coldly. A terrifying murderous aura came charging at him directly. Wang Xian didn't even look at him. He just looked at Ren Xingqian quietly. You're courting death. An angry look appeared on the elder's face. With a wave of his hand, he slashed his hand sword at Ren Xingqian. Bang! Kill. However, the moment the sky-high sword sect elder made his move, a golden swordfish also made its move. With a wave of the long sword in his hand, the golden swordfish shattered his attack and charged towards him without any hesitation. You're courting death. A small force dares to provoke us. When the elder saw the golden swordfish charging towards him, he roared furiously. A golden long sword appeared in his hand and slashed towards the golden swordfish. Attack! Elder Qi's expression changed slightly. His face was cold and his killing intent seemed to be corporeal. A long sword appeared in his hand. Together with the elder, they attacked the golden swordfish. Whoever tries to stop us will be killed. At the back, a golden swordfish's cold voice rang out as it faced Elder Qi. Haha, you actually dare to look down on our towering sky sword sect. Good. The last elder at the fifth level of the see-through realm sneered with a gloomy face. He unsheathed his sword and rushed out as well. Die. The three elders of the towering sky sword sect took action. The third golden swordfish also took action. Whoever took action would be killed. Wang Xian stood there and watched quietly. They are really daring. This is the territory of the Atlas Sword sect. Behind them is the land of the Atlas Sword sect. There are more than 10,000 disciples and all the strong ones are within the sect. When everyone around saw that the 3 golden swordfish really dared to face the 3 elders of the Atlas sword sect, they were all dumbfounded. Chapter 1471. 1471 was not a dragon that could cross the river. In front of the towering sky sword sect, the 3 elders of the towering sky sword sect attacked, and the 3 golden swordfish went up to meet them, stunning everyone. This was the territory of the towering sky sword sect, and behind it was the territory of the towering sky sword sect. To attack the elders of the towering sky sword sect in this place, wasn't that courting death? Courting death? Let me show you what real sword arts are. Elder Chi and the other 2 saw the 3 golden swordfish coming toward them, and their eyes were filled with killing intent. They didn't ask the sect for help, because the other party had only sent 3 people. As sword arts practitioners, the towering sky sword sect, which had inherited sword arts, was famous in the entire vast region. They weren't afraid of anyone when facing enemies with swords. In fact, they were confident that they could defeat swordsmen of the same level. This was the confidence that came from their foundation. Clang, clang, clang. In the instant that they collided, the 3 elders held their long swords and collided with the 3 golden swordfish hundreds of times in an instant. The sound of sharp swords colliding continuously rang out. They were both metal elemental 5th level void interpretation experts, and the center of the battle was like a dazzling sun. 10,000 golden sword rays scattered in all directions. The terrifying sword chi made everyone around panic and scatter in all directions. What exquisite sword techniques! In the instant of the collision, the 3 elders of the towering sky sword sect were instantly at a disadvantage, causing their expressions to change slightly. Aspect: 3 talents sword formation. Aspect: 3 talents sword formation. Aspect: 3 talents sword formation. At this moment, the 3 elders shouted in unison, and 3 dazzling metal greatswords instantly appeared in front of them. Dharma Idol, 3 talents sword formation, was a Dharma idol evolved from the inherited divine ability of the towering sky sword sect. Each of the 3 greatswords was only 100 meters in size, but these 3 swords could attack together. Among the Dharma idols, one of the more exquisite Dharma idols was extremely powerful. Attack! The 3 of them shouted in unison again, and the 3 long swords attacked the 3 golden swordfish. Dharma idols, Wu-Wei sword. The 3 golden swordfish didn't hesitate at all. They shook the long swords in their hands and also used their Dharma idols. A long sword that was only 10 meters long appeared in front of them. Each sword was emitting a dazzling golden light. The golden light covered an area of 1,000 meters. In the area covered by the golden light, outsiders could not even see the long sword inside. Kill. The 3 golden swordfish did not show any expression on their faces. Their figures moved and directly disappeared into the golden light. Be careful. Elder Chi and the other 2 were slightly shocked when they saw this strange Dharma idol attack, and they reminded in a low voice. The strength of those 3 swordsmen is so terrifying. What sharp sword techniques! It seems that they are also from the same sword sect. When the surrounding families saw the 6 people fighting together, they were shocked. Which force is this? They are actually evenly matched with our elders. A disciple of the towering sky sword sect looked at them in shock. The battle has just begun. No one is a match for our towering sky sword sect in terms of swordsmanship, let alone a faction from a small place. The eldest senior brother of the towering sky sword sect stared at them with a twinkle in his eyes. When his gaze swept past Wang Xian and the rest, he looked at the deacons at the side and said, "Deacons, should we seek help from the experts of the sect?" "No need. Let's wait and see. They won't dare to do anything." The few middle-aged men waved their hands and didn't put Wang Xian and the rest in their eyes at all. Even if they had 3 strong practitioners at the 5th level of the see-through void stage who were fighting against their elders. If they were to seek help now and the strong practitioners of the sect were to be mobilized, it wouldn't be embarrassing enough if the opponents were just these dead fishes and shrimp. "Ah, Elder, save us. Save us." At this moment, a scream for help suddenly came from below. Everyone's expression changed slightly as they hurriedly looked in the direction of the Song clan below. They saw Ren Xingchen standing on the ship with a long sword in his hand. In front of him, more than 10 corpses lay on the side. Song Wn stared at Ren Xingchen with a terrified expression as she screamed loudly. Ren Xingchen, if you dare to kill us, the Towering Sky Sword sect will not let you off. Stop, stop. As she spoke, she pointed at Ren Xingchen and shouted with a stern expression. Ren Xingchen stared at Song Wan without any expression on his face. Stop, our Towering Sky Sword sect is warning you. If you dare to kill our people and go against our will, none of you will be able to leave this place today. A deacon saw Ren Xingchen slaughtering people from the Song clan. His expression changed slightly as he shouted coldly. Stupid. When Wang Xian saw the deacon's words, a faint sneer appeared on his face. He raised his head and looked at the sky. The area covered by the golden radiance covered all 3 elders of the Atlas Sword sect. At this moment, he smiled and looked at the 3 figures that were gradually becoming clearer. Look, that is. In the surrounding area, a profound void martial artist on a ship suddenly stared at the sky in shock. He pointed at the 3 figures that had faintly appeared and shouted loudly. The 3 figures quickly descended towards the area below. Everyone raised their heads and looked towards the sky. They looked at the 3 figures who were wearing golden clothing and had a mountain peak pattern on their backs. It's Elder Qi and the others, they. All the disciples and deacons of the Towering Sky Sword sect looked over as well. Their pupils dilated and their mouths opened slightly. Bang, bang, bang. The sound of collision could be heard. The 3 corpses fell directly onto the ship of the Song clan. Song Wan, who was pointing at Ren Xingchen, froze. The surroundings instantly fell silent. Only the sound of waves could be heard. Cold sweat appeared on the faces of everyone from the Song clan. Elder Qi and the rest have been killed. They actually, really dared to kill Elder Qi and the rest. Everyone was stunned. Looking at the bodies of Elder Qi and the rest, they muttered to themselves. They actually dared to kill the elders of the Atlas Sword sect at the entrance of the Atlas Sword sect. Were they going to attack the Towering Sky Sword sect? Everyone looked at Wang Xian and the 200 or so people behind him. Were these people courting death? Or, an enemy has invaded. 3 elders have been killed. An enemy has invaded. Request for reinforcements from the sect. At this moment, the disciples and deacons who were floating in the sky revealed a look of fear. The deacons who had said that everything was fine roared in fear. The roar resounded throughout the entire sea area. Hey! The terrified voice resounded throughout the entire Towering Sky Sword sect, causing all the disciples and experts to be slightly stunned. Someone has invaded. Which death-seeking bastard dares to attack our Towering Sky Sword sect? 3 elders have been killed. Death-seeking? Cut them into 1,000 pieces. Inside the Towering Sky Sword peak, a group of experts and disciples looked out with cold killing intent in their eyes. An ant killed a disciple of our sword sect at the gate of our sword sect. At the peak of the Towering Sky Sword peak, 2 people wearing golden clothes and golden crowns were sitting in front of the chessboard. He glanced down through the layers of clouds and said calmly, "Chemem, here." The old man on the other side said calmly as he stared at the chessboard and gently placed the chess pieces down. Chapter 1472. 1472 was not a dragon but a river. Boom, boom, boom. When the deacon's terrified voice resounded through the sky-high sword sect, the entire sword sect was filled with experts flying over. All of them were dressed in golden clothes. Some were flying on swords while others were flying in the air. They held long swords in their hands and their bodies were filled with sword chi. At this moment, it was as if tens of thousands of long swords were shooting towards them. Hiss. There might be a battle coming up, let's retreat quickly. It should be a massacre. The sect master of the Towering Sky Sword sect is here, and there are also a group of expert. More than 10,000 elite disciples and more than 1,000 insightful Void Realm experts are all here. Other than the 2 sword masters, the entire Towering Sky Sword sect should be mobilized. After all, this is the entrance of the Towering Sky Sword sect. If someone dares to cause trouble at their entrance, they will naturally all be mobilized. I'm afraid that it will be a massacre. When the surrounding aristocratic families saw the dense crowd of experts and disciples flying out of the towering Sky Sword Peak, their faces were filled with shock. As the only second-rate force within a radius of 1,000 miles, the strength of the towering Sky Sword sect was unquestionable. In the entire vast region, there weren't many forces that could challenge the towering Sky Sword sect, let alone a force that came from the Flowing Sea region. Who are you? How dare you kill an elder of our sect in front of the towering Sky Sword sect? State your name and we will erect a tombstone for you. A sonorous and cold voice came from the mouth of an elder in the middle. 2 3-meter-long giant swords were suspended above the head of the elder. He looked at Wang Xian and the rest with murderous intent. Reporting to Sect Master, it's them. They are the ones who killed Elder Qi and the other two. They are in cahoots. A middle-aged deacon heaved a sigh of relief when he saw everyone from the sect. He quickly pointed at the 3 golden swordfish, Wang Xian, and the rest. The 3 elders were killed, catching everyone off guard. Their elders were actually killed by a swordsman of the same level in less than 2 minutes. One had to know that their sky-high sword sect was a great sword sect with a complete heritage. There were few who could match up to a swordsman of the same level. Furthermore, they were fighting against swordsmen of the same level. However, the strength displayed by the other party shocked them. It's all of you. Shut up. Kill 3 elders of our sky-high sword sect. Kill them all. Just as Wang Xian was about to speak, the sect master of sky-high sword sect, who was standing in the middle, shouted coldly. Kill. Those who offend our towering Sky Sword sect will die. Kill. Behind the sect master of the towering Sky Sword sect, more than 1,000 insightful Emptiness Realm experts roared in a low voice. Behind them, more than 10,000 disciples roared with murderous intent. Those who dared to kill the elders of the towering Sky Sword sect would only end up dead. They didn't need to understand anything else and didn't listen to any explanations. Report your forces. Not only do we have to kill you, but your sects and dynasties will also have to pay the price. An elder at level 6 of the see-through void took a step forward and roared at Wang Xian and the rest with a grim expression. Dead people, there's no need to know too much. Wang Xian looked at the extremely powerful towering Sky Sword sect and his expression turned cold. He raised his head slightly and swept his gaze across the tens of thousands of them. Kill. An order was given. Kill. Since all of you are so overbearing, let's see the truth in the slaughter. Kill. Ao Jian and the golden swordfish behind him shouted with an expressionless face. Their voice was like a sharp sword that was unsheathed. The aura on their bodies was greatly boosted as they attacked the tens of thousands of people from towering Sky Sword sect. There was no fear in their eyes. Their eyes were extremely cold. Kill. What? All the people of the towering Sky Sword sect were also stunned when they saw Ao Jian and his group of 200 charging over. They felt the icy cold aura and the cold sword ray, and their expressions changed slightly. 200 insightful Void Realm expert. An elder of the towering Sky Sword sect felt the aura charging over from the front, and a trace of solemnity appeared on his face. Sect Master, they are the forces of the Liu Hai region. The deacon beside him roared loudly. The forces of the Flowing Sea region dare to be so arrogant. Kill them all. Kill them all. Leave no one alive. The sect master of the towering Sky Sword sect had an ugly expression on his face when he saw Ao Jian and the others charging straight at them. They dared to attack them arrogantly with only 200 people. They simply did not put the towering Sky Sword sect in their eyes. Kill. Kill this group of frogs at the bottom of the well, trash from the Flowing Sea region. How dare they challenge our Sky-High Sword sect? Kill them all. The Sky-High Sword sect elders shouted with cold faces. Kill. A great battle was about to break out. My God, those 200 expressionless swordsmen are all insightful Emptiness Realm expert. 200, it's actually 200 insightful Emptiness Realm experts, but Atlas sect has 1,000. When all the surrounding aristocratic families saw the sudden outbreak of war, their expressions changed drastically, and they quickly led their clansmen to retreat. This motherfucker, Atlas Sword Sect's sect master, was incomparably domineering. He did not even ask for a reason and directly ordered the execution. However, The other party was not to be trifled with, he directly ordered the execution. From the moment everyone from the towering Sky Sword sect came out to attack, less than 30 seconds had passed. Dharma Idol, Bloodless Sword, Ao Jian and 200 others rushed toward the towering Sky Sword sect. They did not hesitate at all and used their Dharma Idol instantly. Out of the 200 golden swordfish, the weakest one could kill a level 3 profound void martial artist, while the strongest Ao Jian could kill a level 6 profound void martial artist. This power was definitely not weak. Not counting the rank 5 and rank 6 insightful void martial artists, the towering Sky Sword sect was no match at all. Although they had 1,000 insightful void martial artists, more than 900 of them were rank 1 and rank 2 insightful void martial artists, while the rest were only rank 3 and above. When the dazzling golden hiltless sword instantly appeared in front of the group of golden swordfish. Each sword was 1,000 meters long, but only as wide as an arm. The terrifying sharpness directly charged toward the towering Sky Sword sect. What? The sect master of the towering Sky Sword sect looked at the 200 identical Dharma images and felt the bone-piercing sword light on them. His expression finally changed drastically. Disciples of the towering Sky Sword sect, be careful. The opponent's strength is at least at the 3rd level of the Profound Void stage. His strength has not reached the Profound Void stage yet. Retreat. He hurriedly shouted loudly. 200 experts at least at the 3rd level of the Profound Void stage. In a battle of this level, those below the Profound Void stage could not interfere at all. The lowest level is the 3rd level of the Profound Void martial stage. Hearing the sect master's words, the expressions of all the disciples changed greatly, and even the pupils of some Profound Void martial stage experts shrunk slightly. Defend. However, at this time, there was no time for them to think. Facing those peculiar bloodless swords, the group of experts from the towering Sky Sword sect hurriedly roared, brandished their resplendent attacks, and directly welcomed them. However, it was too late for them to escape. The bloodless swords covered everyone in the towering Sky Sword sect. Aspect, Sword Edge Protection. Aspect, Sword Edge Protection. The expressions of the 10 rank 6 profound void martial artists in the towering Sky Sword sect turned cold as they shouted in unison. Aspect, Sword Edge Protection. A protective aspect comprehended at rank 6 profound void martial artists. 10 Dharma idols enveloped everyone in the sword sect. With 10 guardian Dharma idols, the sect master of the towering Sky Sword sect was confident that he could block the attacks of 200 Dharma idols at rank 3 profound void martial stage. Pa. However, the moment the sword edge protection was formed, the sound of shattering was immediately heard. A black and white cross easily pierced through the moment the Dharma idol was formed. Many people didn't even see the black and white cross. Oh no, there's an expert. Lord Sword Master, save me. The Sky High Sword sect's sect master's expression changed drastically as he shouted loudly. Chapter 1473. 1473 above the Heartless Sword sect. Lord Sword Master, save me. When the sect master's terrified voice rang out in front of the Sky High Sword sect, everyone had shocked expressions on their faces. The sect master of the Sky High Sword sect actually called for help. Where are the experts? The experts and disciples of the aristocratic families who had fled 2 to 3 kilometers away saw the scene and were dumbfounded. They only looked at the sect master of the towering Sky Sword sect in the middle of the battlefield, their eyes flashing. There were experts. With their strength, they did not see the moment Ao Yarrow made his move. At the top of the towering Sky Sword, the movements of the 2 old men who were playing chess froze slightly. The 2 men hurriedly stood up. A dazzling golden light shot out from their eyes and looked down. Shit, the other party's power is not weak. The 2 of them looked over and did not notice Ao Yarrow's figure. However, they saw that the Dharma idol released by the 200 weakest 3rd level profound void martial experts covered the disciples of the towering Sky Sword sect. Hualala. An old man waved his arm. The chess pieces on the table were like a sharp sword. They suddenly turned into a giant sword that was 10 meters in size. The giant sword attacked downwards at a terrifying speed. It's too late. The other old man's expression was a little awkward. His figure moved, and with a flash, his figure disappeared instantly. Ah! Run, quickly run. At this moment, over 10,000 disciples of the towering Sky Sword sect were directly covered by the bloodless sword. That strange and sharp long sword instantly pierced through everyone. The sharp sword was like a poisonous snake, cold and full of killing intent. More than 10,000 towering Sky Sword sect disciples were killed or injured by this move. Damn you guys, all of you will die today. A cold voice filled with coldness came from the sky. A dazzling golden figure descended from the sky like a sharp sword. The golden figure looked at the disciples who were more than half dead and injured, and his eyes were slightly red. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this time, the chess piece turned into a huge sword and fell toward the ground. The 200 golden swordfish were affected by their souls, and they quickly dodged to the surroundings. Boom, boom, boom. The sharp sword fell into the water and directly penetrated into the ocean, causing a wave of water spray. Hiss, at least 4,000 to 5,000 disciples of the towering Sky Sword sect died under the attack of 200 expert. The sword master of the towering Sky Sword sect has made his move. Among this group of people, I think there are also experts at the 7th level of the Profound Void tier. Oh my god, today is going to be a great battle. Shocked voices came from the surroundings. Everyone raised their heads and looked at the sword master who was emitting golden light. Hehe, you two arrogant fellows are here. Unfortunately, both of you are going to die. Let me test your strength, haha. When Wang Xian saw the two sword masters who were at level 7 of the see-through realm flying down from the front and back, a mocking look appeared on his face. Just now, he saw the two strong swordsmen on the sword tip. However, to his surprise, they did not come down at all. They merely took a glance and continued playing chess. Their arrogance made Wang Xian feel a little amused. He laughed out loud and the 5 elements millstone appeared above his head. It expanded rapidly and went straight for the two swordmasters in the sky. Who are you people? The two swordmasters who had descended from the towering Sky Sword peak did not have the time to show off. When they saw Wang Xian coming straight for them and felt the palpitating energy from the 5 elements millstone, their expressions changed slightly. Those who want to kill you. Wang Xian moved his body and stood above the 5 elements millstone. A strong fighting spirit appeared on his face. Ever since his breakthrough, he had not had a good fight. Today, he would use the two 7th level insightful void martial artists to test his strength. Roar. When he finished his sentence, he let out a dragon's roar. Following that, his entire body turned into 80 meters in size. He crouched in the middle of the 5 elements grinding mill and stared coldly at the two swordmasters. What kind of monster are you? What kind of enmity do you have with our towering Sky Sword sect? When the two swordmasters, who were thousands of meters in the air, saw Wang Xian suddenly turn into a gigantic figure of 80 meters, their eyes revealed a solemn expression. You talk too much nonsense. A hint of mockery appeared in Wang Xian's eyes. The towering Sky Sword sect thought that they were invincible and completely ignored Wang Xian. They even interrupted him when he was speaking. Now, it was the complete opposite. They really wanted to know when they had provoked such a terrifying force. However, Wang Xian ignored them. Since you guys are so overbearing, let's continue. Roar. Dragon Nation in palm. Wang Xian did not hesitate at all. With a wave of his dragon claw, a dragon claw the size of 4 kilometers appeared in the sky. The entire dragon claw covered the sky and the sun. It looked extremely terrifying. 7th level of the see-through realm. You alone want to fight against the two of us? You are courting death. One of the swordmasters had an extremely cold expression as he charged towards the sky. Huge swords that were 3,000 meters long appeared around him. We Gemini swordmasters have roamed the vast region for 3,000 years. We are unafraid of any enemies. Today, we will definitely behead you. The other swordmaster also flew into the sky. Around him, an identical 3,000-meter-long sword appeared. There were 3 swords for each of them. There were a total of 6. The two of them let out a soft cry. The 6 swords attacked the dragon claw from different angles. Boom. 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 The sound of collision rang out from the sky. In a short instant, the three of them arrived at a height of 10,000 meters. Even so, this terrifying collision caused a wave of air to rush downwards. Splash. The seawater churned like a level 10 tsunami. Oh my God, the two sword masters were actually blocked by that young man. Is this the terrifying power of a level 7 see-through void martial artist? The energy that blots out the sky. The towering sky sword sect has encountered a strong enemy today. Everyone below had a drastic change in expression when they saw Wang Xian charging straight up and seeing the terrifying aura coming from the sky. Due to the great grinding of the 5 elements, they did not see Wang Xian transforming into a divine dragon. What? The sect master of the towering sky sword sect had a drastic change in expression when he saw the two sword masters being blocked in an instant. The black and white cross earlier was not released by the young man who went up to the sword masters. Kill. At this moment, Ao Jian's order sounded. He stared at the rest of the towering sky sword sect members emotionlessly, and the sharp sword in his hand trembled. Dharma idol, Wu Wei sword. A dazzling golden light enveloped it, covering an area of 3 kilometers. A long sword was hidden within like a poisonous snake. Without any hesitation, he directly attacked the 10 rank 6 profound void martial experts of the towering sky sword sect. Behind him, another group of golden swordfish also started to move, charging towards the members of the towering sky sword sect. The battle where the guest was the main force made everyone feel as if this was their home ground. Chapter 1474. 1474 in the Heartless Sword Dao sect. Be careful of the surroundings. Kill. All disciples, all experts, listen up. Kill. The sect master of the towering sky sword sect saw Ao Jian and the others attacking, and his face revealed a terrified expression. He roared loudly and ordered all the disciples of the sect. Even if it was an ordinary disciple, they had to make a move. Life and death, life and death. He knew that there was a terrifying 7th level profound void martial artist hiding in the surroundings. What? At the periphery of the battlefield, the disciples of the towering sky sword sect who were about to escape revealed shocked expressions when they heard the order of the sect master. They want us to rush over too. We haven't reached the profound void martial stage yet. If we rush over, won't we be instantly killed? All disciples attack. The towering sky sword sect is at the point of life and death. How is this possible? This is the most powerful force within a radius of thousands of kilometers. Now, they are actually at the point of life and death. When the experts and disciples of the surrounding aristocratic families heard this order, they were also dumbstruck. This war was clearly not something that those below the profound void realm could participate in. Unless the towering sky sword sect was at the point of life and death, otherwise, disciples below the profound void realm would only be sending themselves to their death. Disciples below the profound void realm were also somewhat dumbstruck when they heard the sect leader's order. They all gulped and looked at the corpses on the sea, their faces filled with fear. Die. At this moment, a cold voice sounded from the center of the battlefield. No. A familiar voice suddenly came from the golden light. The voice was somewhat tragic. Hearing these voices, the disciples of the towering sky sword sect trembled. First Elder. That's the First Elder's voice. The voice of the towering sky law-enforcing elder. This. All the disciples of the towering sky sword sect had a look of panic on their faces. This voice was the screams of the top-notch experts of the sword sect. Ao Yaro moved. The group of strange demons also moved. After the two sword masters were blocked by Wang Xian, the towering sky sword sect didn't have any ability to defend themselves. At this moment, a pathetic figure flew out from the sky covered by golden light. There was a long sword mark on his chest. Sect Master. A middle-aged man saw that their sect master was heavily injured and shouted in fear. Deacon Liang, how did we provoke this terrifying force? The sect master of the sky-high sword sect shouted at Deacon Liang with a pale face. It was this Deacon Liang who had asked for help before the battle started. Sect master, yes. It was Elder Qi and the others. A young man came here to take revenge on two families. The young man destroyed one family. When he destroyed another family, a woman from that family had already been accepted as a disciple by Elder Qi. Then, before Deacon Liang could speak, the sect master of the Towering Sky Sword sect couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. What the fuck? Just for the sake of a new disciple, the Towering Sky Sword sect actually suffered a catastrophe. If the two sword masters could not withstand the other party, the Towering Sky Sword sect would cease to exist from then on. Just because of a single disciple? At the thought of this, he could not help but spit out another mouthful of blood. Bastard! He shouted with an extremely embarrassed expression. It was unknown whether he was scolding Wang Xian and the rest or Elder Qi and the rest. Not far away from them, Ren Xingchen was holding a blood-stained long sword in his hand. He stared coldly at the Song clan leader and Song Wan. In the entire Song clan, only a dozen people were standing there with despair on their faces. When they saw the furious and terrified expression of the sect master of the Towering Sky Sword sect, their bodies trembled violently. They never expected things to turn out this way. They had thought that they could kill Ren Xingchen with the help of the Towering Sky Sword sect. However, they had never thought that a terrifying force would directly help Ren Xingchen. They were even on the verge of destroying the Towering Sky Sword sect. This was the Towering Sky Sword sect, the strongest force within 1,000 kilometers. In the vast region, it was not a weak existence. You guys helped the Wu clan to destroy our Ren clan. You would never have thought that this would happen. Ren Xingchen's gaze swept across the center of the battlefield as he spoke indifferently to Song Wan and the Song clan's clan leader. Gulp. Song Wan and the others swallowed a mouthful of saliva as they closed their eyes in despair. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, another terrifying sound came from the sky. The sound spread to an area of 100 kilometers. Everyone raised their heads and looked towards the sky. At a height of 10,000 meters, they could only see terrifying energy collisions, but they couldn't see anything else. It wasn't just the area below. The battle at a height of 10,000 meters in the sky shook 5 or 6 nearby cities. When the people and experts in the cities sensed the terrifying collision sounds, they all looked in the direction of the Sky High Sword sect. It's at least a powerhouse at level 7 of the see-through realm fighting. What happened to the Atlas Sword sect? The powerhouses of the see-through realm looked up into the sky and thought to themselves with their hearts palpitating. What a terrifying physical body. What a terrifying energy. What kind of energy is he releasing? In the sky 10,000 meters high, the two swordmasters were standing in front of Wang Xian, one on the left and the other on the right. They were staring at Wang Xian with cold sweat on their foreheads. Phew, it's going to be troublesome to deal with the two 7th-level insightful Void Stage swordmasters. Especially since their combined attack is quite strong. Wang Xian exhaled slightly and stood in the middle of the 5 elements grinding mill. However, this is the end of it. He raised his head slightly. Roar. A dragon's roar shook the area within 500 kilometers. Under the shocked gazes of the two swordmasters, Wang Xian's dragon head turned into a size of 4,000 meters. It was an incomparably huge dragon horn. The dragon whiskers on both sides were at least a few hundred meters long. They were fiery red in color and were emitting flames. The pair of dragon eyes was the size of a house and had a huge mouth. Majestic and divine. When the two swordmasters saw this dragon head, they had the urge to kneel down. What kind of divine creature is this? The two of them looked at each other and saw the fear in each other's eyes. Run. The two didn't hesitate at all and directly fled into the distance. They were really afraid. Just now, they had spent a lot of effort to fight against this creature. Now, in this state, it was obviously not something they could resist. Is the vast area about to undergo a huge change? Why are there so many terrifying creatures appearing? Both of their eyes were filled with fear. A few months ago, an expert known as the Desolate Goddess had appeared out of nowhere. At that time, an elite disciple of a first-rate family in the vast region, the Nanshan family, had provoked her. In the end, that elite disciple was killed on the spot. The Nanshan family was furious and sent an expert to take revenge. In the end, They did not expect that the end of the Nanshan family would come. They heard from the trembling voice of a 7th-rank profound void martial artist that the desolate goddess was standing on a terrifying beast that was 10,000 meters tall, rampaging through the Nanshan castle. The entire South Mountain Castle, as well as the South Mountain Heavenly Lake, had been razed to the ground. Chapter 1475. 1475 Under the Heartless Sword Path Sect. The goddess of desolation rode a 10,000-meter-long giant beast and destroyed a first-rate family. From then on, she entered the stage of the vast region. The goddess of desolation occupied the Sea of Desolation. One man and one beast became an existence that was superior to first-rate forces. Even the 3 super forces had to be respectful to the goddess of desolation. However, the terrifying human being in front of them might not be as huge as the giant beast of the goddess of desolation, but its head, which was 3 to 4 kilometers long, still looked extremely terrifying. Run. Can you still run now? Wang Xian's dragon eyes, which were the size of a house, stared at the 2 figures. He opened his mouth and a destructive energy shot forward. The destructive energy of the 5 elements, which covered a radius of 4 kilometers, shot out from his mouth and engulfed the 2 sword masters. Oh no, it's this terrifying energy again. The expressions of the 2 sword masters changed drastically. The golden crown on their heads shot out a terrifying golden light that enveloped their bodies. Zzz. The 5 elements' annihilation energy covered them. The corrosive energy caused the golden light to quickly disappear. Die. At this moment, a terrifying dragon claw descended from the sky and covered their entire sky. Break him. All heaven soared. The 2 swordmasters clenched their teeth and roared loudly when they saw the terrifying dragon claw descending from the sky. They raised the sharp swords in their hands and spun them rapidly like a tornado. The sharp swords pierced through Wang Xian's dragon claw. Bang, bang, bang. When the sharp swords landed on the dragon claw, the terrifying metal killing attack immediately created a 5-meter-wide hole. Charge out! The 2 of them roared. The sharp sword reached a depth of 10 meters in an attempt to pierce through Wang Xian's dragon claw. Ants! Wang Xian stared at them with a cold smile on his face. He clenched his dragon claw forcefully. A human was indeed like an ant in a dragon claw that was 3 to 4 kilometers in size. Their sharp sword pierced through a wound that was 5 meters wide and 10 meters deep. Wang Xian couldn't even feel any pain. Such a wound could only be considered as a superficial wound in front of such a huge body. Boom, boom, boom. When Wang Xian's dragon claws reached down, it was as though a planet had exploded to the 2 swordmasters. Waves of terrifying energy were squeezing towards them. No. Despair appeared on their faces as the destructive energy landed on their bodies. The dragon claw was completely clenched. With my current strength, it shouldn't be too much of a problem for me to kill 3 opponents at the 7th level of the see-through realm. Wang Xian revealed a smile on his face. His huge dragon eyes penetrated through the clouds and looked towards the sky-high sword sect. He opened his dragon claw and waved it gently towards the area below. 2 corpses fell towards the area below. Wang Xian's body moved and transformed into a human form. The 5 elements millstone shrunk rapidly and landed under his feet. Bang! Bang! At the area below, the corpses of the 2 swordmasters landed heavily on a ship with a loud sound. When the 2 swordmasters fell from the sky, the experts from the families around them noticed them. Looking at the familiar clothes, the 2 corpses seemed to have fallen onto their hearts. Those two corpses are the sword masters of the towering sky sword sect. Oh my god, the 2 sword masters have been killed. It's over, it's over. The towering sky sword sect is completely finished. The sword masters are dead, and there's nothing they can do about it. The experts looked at the 2 lifeless corpses with their mouths agape as they muttered. Their gazes swept across the surroundings, and their expressions were somewhat dazed. The towering sky sword sect, a huge sect that had stood tall in the vast region for 4,000 years, had been destroyed. It had been destroyed at a terrifying speed. The 2 swordmasters are dead. I surrender, I surrender. It's over, it's over. Run, the swordmasters are dead. Let's run. Not long after, The two swordmasters' deaths were discovered by the disciples of the Towering Sky Sword sect. When they saw this situation, the entire Towering Sky Sword sect completely collapsed. Some of the experts directly shouted for surrender. There were also some who fled in fear. There were not many people, only about 1,000 people. Because the rest had already been killed in the battle just now. Ha ha, an unexpected disaster, an unexpected disaster. The heavens want to destroy our Towering Sky Sword sect. When the sect master of the Towering Sky Sword sect saw this scene, he roared in despair, his face filled with madness. The Towering Sky Sword sect had been destroyed. Your last backer has been destroyed. Now, it's your turn. From below, Ren Xingchen saw this scene and a grateful expression appeared on his face. He looked at Song Wn and the remaining 10 or so members of the Song clan as he brandished the sword of slaughter in his hand. Despair had long filled their hearts. They had already lost the ability to resist. The only thing in their minds were regret and regret. Wang Xian stood about 500 meters above the sea. He scanned his surroundings and looked around indifferently. Sir, thank you. You have saved my life again. I, Ren Xingchen, have no way to repay you. I will definitely go through fire and water in the future. At this moment, Ren Xingchen flew over. He knelt in the air with a respectful expression and kowtowed to Wang Xian to express his gratitude. No need. Wang Xian shook his head faintly and looked at the battlefield that was about to end. Ren Xingchen looked over as well. A hint of bitterness appeared on his face. He knew the reason why Sir Wang didn't need him at all. It was because any one of the 200 experts that he brought along could easily kill him. He was of no use to Lord Wang at all. It was also because of this that Ren Xingchen was even more grateful. From saving him in the tomb of the demi-human, to now, he had even helped him to destroy a terrifying force. He had no way to repay him. He could only secretly swear that he would repay him with his life in the future. Reporting to Dragon King, kill all the experts and disciples of the Atlas Sword Sect. When the last scream was heard, Ao Jian flew to the front of Wang Xian and reported respectfully. Yes. Wang Xian nodded his head and looked at the towering and majestic Towering Sky Sword Peak. Treat the Towering Sky Sword Sect as our base, Wang Xian said plainly. His gaze swept across the row of golden swordfish in front of him and announced, change the Towering Sky Sword Sect to the Heartless Sword Sect. Ao Jian, you will be the sect master. Ren Xingchen, you have joined first. I will need you to handle the matter of finding Ling Jian. As Wang Xian spoke, he looked at Ren Xingchen. Yes, sir. Ren Xingchen did not hesitate and nodded immediately. Although he had joined the Heavenly Sword Sect, the sect master of the current Heavenly Sword Sect had already come to the vast region to find his daughter. Obviously, Lord Wang had brought so many people here to look for Ling Jian. It's the Dragon King. Ao Jian also nodded his head heavily and stood up. The Towering Sky Sword Sect has been destroyed. Today, our Heartless Sword Path Sect is established. 3 days later, we will be hosting a banquet for all the forces within 1,000 kilometers. Wang Xian floated in the sky and his voice reverberated within a few hundred kilometers. Chapter 1476. 1476 The Feast of 1476. Hiss. The Heartless Sword Path Sect. They have established the Heartless Sword Path Sect. With their strength, they have become a second-rate top force. Look. During the battle just now, none of the 200 swordsmen died. They have always been expressionless, cold, and indifferent. The Heartless Sword Path Sect lives up to its name, inviting all the forces within 1,000 kilometers. What are they trying to do? Are they announcing their existence and making people submit to them? Or are they recruiting disciples? Or are they asking other forces to pay tribute to them? When Wang Xian's voice rang out, all the family forces around sucked in a breath of cold air. They were discussing in shock. However, when some of the cities within a few hundred kilometers heard Wang Xian's voice, all of them had shocked expressions on their faces. The Towering Sky Sword Sect had been destroyed. The forces that had been standing here for thousands of years had been destroyed. Furthermore, this Heartless Sword Path Sect had invited all the forces within 1,000 kilometers. What were they trying to do? The families and clans in the cities, as well as some sects and dynasties, had astonished expressions on their faces. However, a force that could destroy the towering Sky Sword sect had invited all the forces within 1,000 kilometers. Who would dare not to come? All the forces, including those dynasties, had to send people over. Let's go. Wang Xian looked at the entrance of the towering Sky Sword sect and flew in. However, when he was halfway there, he glanced at the few forces on the right. After hesitating for a moment, he continued flying in. Phew, we didn't make a move. Fortunately, this lord let us go. Fortunately, we are lucky. When that lord looked over just now, I thought we were going to die. Sob, I was almost scared to death. Thank goodness that lord is magnanimous. When Wang Xian and the group of golden swordfish entered, the members of the Li family felt as though they had survived a calamity. Just now, the chiefs of the four forces had attacked Ren Xingchen. If that lord really wanted to argue with them, they would be dead for sure. It seems that the lord of the Heartless Sword Path sect is not that ruthless. However, he looks so young. Did he take some kind of pill? The experts of the surrounding families whispered. Let's come here in 3 days. I think it won't be anything bad. The people from the aristocratic families took a deep look at the mountain peak. Now, this mountain peak had changed its name to Heartless Sword Dao Peak. Ao Yarrow, lead your men to search the entire mountain peak and bring all the treasures over. Ren Xingchen, prepare for the banquet in 3 days, Wang Xian ordered them. It's the Dragon King. In the sky, Ao Yarrow led his men to search for treasures in the mountain peak. The entire mountain peak was huge. It was about 3,000 meters tall. The most important thing was its height. From the surface of the sea, it was only 2,000 meters tall. However, it was actually more than 20,000 meters tall. The bottom of the sea also belonged to this mountain peak. The location of the bottom of the sea was isolated by a formation. There were gemstones dotted on the bottom of the sea, making the entire seabed look dreamy and extremely beautiful. After all, it was a powerful faction that had 2 experts at the 7th level of the see-through void tier and had stood tall for more than 4,000 years. It was not something that the former Bloodflow Empire could compare to. The most spectacular part of the entire mountain peak was the location at the bottom of the sea. Dragon King, we have established the Heartless Sword Path sect. Do you want to recruit disciples? Ren Xingchen hesitated for a moment before asking Wang Xian. Yes, we will recruit disciples according to the normal development of the sect. Inform all the nearby forces at the banquet in 3 days. In addition, the main thing is to mobilize all the surrounding forces to look for Ling Jian. Wang Xian said with a twinkle in his eyes. When he decided to destroy the towering Sky Sword sect, Wang Xian was prepared to use this place as a base for the Dragon and Phoenix Empire to invade the vast region in the future. In addition, he would establish a powerful force that could allow all the forces within a radius of 1,000 kilometers to help him find Ling Jian. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Yes, sir. I'll go and prepare now. Ren Xingchen nodded and left immediately. He had to prepare well for the banquet that would be held 3 days later for all the forces within a radius of 1,000 kilometers. Wang Xian swept his gaze across his surroundings, from the mountain peak to the surface of the sea. Following that, he flew towards the bottom of the sea. There was no seawater under the isolation of the formation. There was a completely different world under the sea. Furthermore, there was a spiritual spring at the bottom of the sea. This was not the small-scale spiritual spring that was discovered by the Dragon Palace. Instead, it was a large-scale spiritual spring. A large-scale spiritual spring was completely locked by the formation. At the bottom of the spiritual spring, a holy land for cultivation was created. Cultivating in a place with the densest concentration of spiritual energy would allow one to cultivate at a speed more than 20 times faster than the outside world. It was also a rare and precious place for cultivation. Wang Xian came to the library of the Atlas Sword Sect and started to read through them curiously. There were all kinds of books in there. Reading these books would allow him to gain a deeper understanding of the vast region. In the next 2 days, the entire vast region was close to the north-flowing sea. There were more than 50 cities and 5 third-rate forces. Such a dense group of powerful forces didn't exist in the flowing sea area. When all the forces learned that the Heartless Sword sect had destroyed the towering Sky Sword sect and was going to hold a banquet 3 days later, the entire area became lively. The forces discussed among themselves. That day in the North Flowing Sea, they saw the Heartless Sword sect destroy the disciples of the towering Sky Sword sect with their own eyes. Their faces were filled with excitement as they introduced them to the people around them. As for the shuffling of the strongest forces in the vicinity, the other forces could only silently watch and obey. It was their fault for being weaker. On the third day, one by one, the forces rushed toward the Heartless Sword sect. There were 5 third-rate forces. There were a total of 30 families, sects, and dynasties. Unlike the Flowing Sea region, the vast area was more densely populated with humans. This was also to better combat the fierce beasts. The real wilderness area was also very large. It was possible that there was not a single city within a few thousand kilometers, only ferocious beasts running around wantonly. I heard that the most powerful person in the Heartless Sword Path sect is a young man. Are you sure it's a young man and not an old man who took a special pill? Who knows? I just heard that they came from the Flowing Sea region. I don't believe that a small place like the Flowing Sea region would have such a powerful force. I wonder why they invited us here. I hope it's not a bad thing. In the afternoon, more than 30 forces of all sizes gathered in front of the Heartless Sword Dao sect's mountain peak. There were 400 to 500 insightful Void Realm experts and 5 level 6 insightful Void Realm experts. On their ships and airships, they carried boxes of gifts. Although the Heartless Sword Path sect didn't say that they would bring gifts, it was impossible for them not to bring some gifts in hopes of befriending this new and powerful sect. The young men who followed them looked forward with curiosity. The cards of the towering Sky Sword sect had been removed, and only the words Heartless Sword Path sect gave off a cold aura. Chapter 1477. 1477 headed toward the He clan. I heard that the Heartless Sword Path sect only has around 200 experts. The weakest one is a rank 3 Void Interpretation expert, and their sword techniques are extremely terrifying. They can easily kill experts of the same level as the towering Sky Sword sect. Such a mysterious force suddenly rose. I wonder if this matter is good or bad for us. In front of the Heartless Sword Path sect, experts from 5 forces stood in the center. There were 2 dynasties, 1 clan, and 2 sects. Behind them, there were more than 20 insightful Emptiness Realm experts. Around them were many small-scale clans and factions. Each clan had around 10 insightful Emptiness Realm experts. There were more than 1,000 people in total. They were discussing in low voices. Ka. At this moment, the Heartless Sword Dao sect's sect opened. Ren Xingchen's gaze swept across all the factions. Everyone, please come in, Ren Xingchen said indifferently and made an inviting gesture. This young man has the combat strength of a 3rd-level profound void martial artist. I heard that he used to be the young master of the Ren clan in ancient Magic City. The Ren clan was exterminated, and he came here to take revenge. The destruction of the towering Sky Sword sect is also related to this young man. Right now, Ren Xingchen's talent and strength are at the peak even in our vast region. Even the young masters of those super factions can't compare to him. Seeing Ren Xingchen, some people from the 5 third-rate forces whispered. The leaders of the forces nodded silently and looked at Ren Xingchen with some amazement. This must be little brother Ren Xingchen. I'm the monarch of the Celestial Soldier Empire. I really didn't expect little brother Ren Xingchen to be a heaven's favorite from ancient Magic City. A group of forces walked inside. An old man dressed in a dragon robe greeted Ren Xingchen with a smile on his face. Celestial Soldier Monarch, I've heard a lot about you. Ren Xingchen cupped his hands. He naturally knew about the Celestial Soldier Monarch. The ancient Magic City belonged to the Celestial Soldier Empire. Speaking of which, the Ren clan was their people in the past. No need. What happened 2 years ago was really regrettable. Little brother Ren Xingchen, do you need to erect a monument in the ancient Magic City to pay tribute to the deceased? The Celestial Soldier Monarch said with a smile. Ren Xingchen was a little moved when he heard the celestial soldier monarch's words. Haha, little brother, leave this matter to us. When the time comes, I'll send someone to call for you. The celestial soldier monarch said with a face full of smiles. It was obvious that he wanted to befriend Ren Xingchen. Thank you, celestial soldier monarch. Ren Xingchen nodded his head in gratitude. Haha, no need, no need. The celestial weapon monarch waved his hand with a face full of laughter. He was in a great mood. The surrounding forces looked at the celestial weapon monarch with slight envy. Obviously, being able to befriend the people of the Heartless Sword Dao sect at this time was very beneficial to them. Little brother Ren Xingchen is really talented. The sect masters, kings, and clan leaders of the other forces also smiled and tried to get on their good side. Ren Xingchen smiled at them. These people used to be him. They were even existences that the Ren clan had to look up to. Now, all of them were greeting him warmly. We're here. After walking for more than 10 minutes, they arrived at the banquet hall. At this moment, there were only Wang Xian, Ao Jian, and 2 civil officials of the Dragon Palace in the hall. Everyone, welcome. When Wang Xian saw the arrival of the forces, a faint smile appeared on his face as he spoke to them. I dare not, I dare not. Greetings, sir. It is our honor that sir can invite us. We have brought some small gifts. I hope that sir can accept them with a smile. The forces quickly bowed to Wang Xian and placed the gifts they brought aside. Everyone, there's no need to be so polite. Please take a seat. I've called all of you here today and I have something that I need your help with. Wang Xian said politely to them. I don't dare to. If you have anything, you can tell us directly. We will definitely do what we can do. When the group of forces saw how courteous Wang Xian was, they felt a little overwhelmed and quickly said, everyone, please take a seat. Wang Xian gestured for everyone to take a seat. All the powerhouses immediately took a seat. They looked at the sumptuous dinner on the table and looked at each other with a little doubt. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Wang Xian. I came from the Liuhai region from afar. I'm new here. Let me toast to everyone. Wang Xian picked up the wine glasses on the table and said to everyone. No, no, no. You are too polite, Master Wang. The leaders and experts of the various forces stood up in surprise and said in fear and trepidation. This. They knew that this very young-looking expert in front of them was a terrifying existence at level 7 of the see-through realm. This was the first time they had seen such a polite level 7 of the see-through realm. It was simply illogical. However, what surprised them was that the Heartless Sword Path sect actually came from the Liuhai region, that small place. Everyone here is from a powerful faction within a radius of 1,000 kilometers. I would like everyone to help me find a person. Wang Xian toasted and waved his hand. A portrait flew towards the location of each faction. Everyone, please help me find a person. If I find the person on the portrait, I will definitely repay you handsomely. Thinking of Ling Jian, he silently sighed and said once more, oh, find someone? All the surrounding factions were slightly stunned. They had gathered all these factions just to find a person? And it was even a beauty. This 7th level insightful void tier lord. Lord Wang, may I take the liberty to ask if we should inform you or directly? The monarch of the Celestial Weapon Empire didn't say anything, but his meaning was clear. Inform or directly capture her. Inform me. Everyone, please do a detailed search in your respective domains. Wang Xian said to them. Sir, don't worry. When we return, we will immediately mobilize all our forces. As long as this lady is in our domain, we will definitely find her for you. The leaders of the various forces immediately said respectfully. Yes, thank you very much. Next, let the future sect leader of the Heartless Sword Path sect, Ao Jian, and Ren Xingchen, entertain all of you. I will take my leave first. Wang Xian thanked them and gestured to everyone. Then, he turned around and went to the peak. No need to thank me, no need to thank me, everyone said hurriedly. When they saw Wang Xian's figure disappear, they were a little moved. This was the first time they had seen such a level 7 insightful void martial artist who was so polite and easy to talk to. Moreover, during the simple conversation just now, they felt that this expert seemed to be very young. Everyone, I am Ao Jian, the sect leader of the Heartless Sword Path sect. I have troubled everyone with the matter of searching for Wang Xian. When Ao Jian saw Wang Xian leave, he stood up and said to all the forces. Sect leader Ao, you are too polite. Lord Wang is really too polite. Just inform us about such a small matter directly. All the forces spoke to Ao Jian respectfully. When they saw this situation, they heaved a sigh of relief in their hearts and began to talk enthusiastically. I hope we can find it. If we can't find it, we can only look for He Yuan to help. Wang Xian stood on the peak and overlooked this unfamiliar sea area. Chapter 1478. 1478 headed to the He clan. I can't believe that Lord Wang Xian is actually here to look for a girl. It seems like Lord Wang Xian has a close relationship with that girl. Otherwise, he wouldn't have found our vast region from the flowing sea region. The Heartless Sword Dao sect is preparing to recruit disciples in 10 days. Should we send some disciples over to participate in the assessment? At night, a group of forces came out of the Heartless Sword Dao sect and discussed in low voices. Today's banquet was beyond everyone's expectations. They had never expected that the invitation was only to ask them to help find a woman. After we go back tonight, we'll immediately mobilize all our forces to find her. The leaders of the forces thought to themselves. They couldn't slacken off just because the Heartless Sword Path sect's attitude was better. On the contrary, they had to take to heart a terrifying faction that could destroy the towering Sky Sword sect in a short period of time. If they could really help that lord find her, it would be of great benefit to their entire faction. After the various factions returned, they mobilized all their forces to start searching. In a short period of time, every city within a 1,000-kilometer radius, and even the wilderness, was filled with people searching for a woman. Even the portrait was pasted at the entrance of the city. Once someone discovered it, they would receive a terrifying reward. This reward was comparable to the reward for completing the hiring of a diamond-grade item. Once there was a clue, they would also receive a huge reward. This caused everyone within 1,000 kilometers to go crazy. A grand search for Ling Jian Er began. One by one, the news spread to the location of the Heartless Sword sect. Half a month later, Wang Xian sat in the lowest part of the ocean with a helpless look on his face. He looked at the information in front of him and sighed helplessly. According to the information sent by the various major forces, Ling Jian Er had indeed come to the vast area and appeared in the surroundings. However, there was no one around now. After half a month of searching, the entire area could be said to have been dug 3 feet deep. There were only 2 possibilities. One was that Ling Jian Er was in a sealed area, and the other was that she was no longer here. Wang Xian closed his eyes and waited quietly. Ling Jian Er's matter had become a worry in his heart. If he didn't find her, he wouldn't be able to sleep and eat in peace. Time flew by and another half a month passed. He had been in the vast region for an entire month. There was still no news after a month. Phew, I can't wait any longer. Wang Xian exhaled. He stood on the peak and looked down. There were now 100 more disciples below. These were the disciples recruited by the Heartless Sword Path sect. Each one of them was outstanding, and a few golden swordfish taught them the Heartless Sword principle. Of course, this Heartless Sword principle was not the complete version, but a very crude Heartless Sword principle. The power of the Heartless Sword principle lay in the fact that when they fought, they were cold and heartless. They did not have 7 emotions and 6 desires, but only fought against their enemies. This made their understanding of heaven and earth, and the use and condensation of their sword techniques, more than 10 times that of ordinary people. In addition, they had tempered their sword heart, making it the strongest way of killing. The golden swordfish and the rest mainly taught them how to control their emotions and desires. Although they could not reach the true level of heartless swordsmanship, it could also greatly increase their attack power. Ao Jian, Ao Yao. Wang Xian flew down from the peak and said to the people below, I'm here. 2 figures appeared in front of Wang Xian and bowed respectfully. I'll leave the matters here to you guys. I have to go somewhere else. I won't be back anytime soon. Wang Xian said to them, "I'll leave the matters here to you guys and the two civil officials. It's the Dragon King." The two of them nodded. Wang Xian didn't say anything more. He flew out of the Heartless Sword Dao sect and headed east. He was very relieved to leave the matters here to Ao Jianao and the two civil officials. They knew what to do next. They flew east and soon, a piece of land appeared in front of them. Wang Xian took out a map and looked at the information on it. The He clan is located in the ancient wood forest. They are 500,000 kilometers away from here. Even if they fly at full speed without rest, it would take them 20 days. With the strength of the He clan, apart from the three superpowers, they have people in other places. If I ask them to help me find them, it would be much better than looking for them myself. Wang Xian looked at the map and continued to fly towards the east. The entire vast area was too huge. If he were to search slowly, he might not be able to find it in his lifetime. It was much better to have the help of the He clan than to search by himself. As Wang Xian spoke, he increased his speed and flew at a high speed. After flying for more than 1,000 kilometers, they entered the vast wilderness. Compared to the flowing sea region, the wilderness in the vast area was more dangerous. The strength of the wild beasts was very high, and each of the void interpretation level beasts occupied a territory. The resources in the vast sea region were incomparable to those in the flowing sea region. For example, within a radius of 1,000 kilometers around the Heartless Sword Path sect, there were two relatively famous territories. There, one could obtain treasures that were useful for cultivation, and their value was not lower than transcendent level 7 or 8 pills, or even higher. The trees in the entire vast area were also taller. Giant trees that were 500 to 600 meters tall could be seen everywhere. There were fewer humans in the wild. Even though Wang Xian was 10,000 meters high in the sky, no one could see him. In order to make time, Wang Xian did not stop halfway. He used all of his time to travel. After more than 10 days, he had already traveled more than 300,000 kilometers. In front of him was a city belonging to the subsidiary forces of the He clan. Wang Xian did not hesitate and flew straight there. There are airships heading to the ancient wood forest in the subsidiary forces of the He clan. Riding on the airships will help me avoid detours. Wang Xian thought for a moment and came to the city gate. He walked straight into the city. The airships originated from a legendary god of the Nine Gods Empire. It was an item created by a formation. Large airships could carry thousands of people while small ones could carry hundreds of people. The value of airships was very high. Fortunately, the airships would be guarded by strong people to prevent attacks from demonic beasts and ferocious beasts. In the vast region, most people would choose airships when traveling at a distance. It was safe and the speed was not slow. Wang Xian came to the only seat in the city that was taking the airships. He paid a generous sum of spirit stones and waited at the side. Just like the airplanes on Earth, the airship had a fixed time to take off. I really didn't expect that young master his birthday party would be so big this time. He invited all the heaven's favored disciples of the He clan and all the subsidiary forces of the He clan. I heard that it was young master He who organized it to celebrate his birthday and his cultivation to the second level of the profound void stage. At this moment, a voice that piqued Wang Xian's interest came from a seat not far away. Chapter 1479. 1479 1479. Wang Xian looked over and saw dozens of young men and women walking towards him. Each of them had an excited expression on their faces. The group of people walked towards Wang Xian. Apparently, they were also riding on an airship. This time, young master He has proposed to the family to establish a mount battle team and establish an independent army of his own. This time, he will only recruit young talents with potential. I wonder if there's a chance. I hope that I can be chosen. Once I'm chosen, young master He will reward me with a void interpretation level beast mount. This is a void interpretation level beast mount. Moreover, young master He has a 50% chance of inheriting the position of clan leader of the He clan. Once we are able to join young master his army, we will definitely soar to great heights in the future. Heavens, even if young master He is unable to inherit the position of clan leader of the He clan, With young master his talent and the army he has established, he will be the pillar of the He clan in the future. A group of young men and women walked over and chatted excitedly with each other. Some of the young men looked like they had extraordinary statuses, but they still could not suppress the excitement in their eyes. The airship will take off in 10 minutes. Let's wait here. A young man asked and said to all the young men and women. Dozens of young men stood there and waited, chatting as they waited. Dui Gongzi is here. I didn't expect Dui Gongzi to be here as well. If Dui Gongzi were to be there, he would definitely be one of the 100 spot. Although the Dui clan is very strong and Dui Gongzi has the chance to inherit the position of clan head, there is still a huge gap between him and young master his army and the He clan. Miss Shin Er is here as well. It seems like all of the outstanding young men in Southern Ridge City are here. A few minutes later, a few more young men and women arrived. The status of these young men and women was obviously very high in this city. Wang Xian sat at the side and listened quietly. After listening for a while, he finally understood a little. Young Master He, also known as He Yuan, would be holding a birthday party in half a month's time. Furthermore, he was prepared to build an army and select 100 elite young men. Each of them would be given a void interpretation level ferocious beast. He announced this news to the vast region. As long as there were capable youths, they were welcome to come. This was a great opportunity for the subordinate forces of the He clan, as well as the youths within the forces of the He clan. With He Yuan's current status in the He clan, even some elders couldn't compare to him. In just a few short years, he had tamed over 100 profound void-tier demonic beasts. In the future, he had a 50% chance of inheriting the position of clan leader of the He clan. Even if he could not inherit the position, his position in the He clan would not be lower than a clan leader in the future. The He clan was a first-rate clan. Basically, all the forces within a radius of 100,000 kilometers belonged to their subordinate forces. In a first-rate clan, it was also the best. Now that He Yuan was on his birthday, the establishment of an army was a huge opportunity for every young man. Looks like this guy is doing quite well. Wang Xian sat there with a faint smile on his face. The airship is about to take off and head to the forest of the He clan in the ancient wood forest. Please board the airship as soon as possible. At this moment, a middle-aged voice was heard from the airship. Everyone immediately walked into the airship. It was much bigger than the airship that Wang Xian saw at the Heartless Sword Path sect. It was at least 100 meters in size and could seat 300 to 400 people inside. An airship was different from an airplane. It was like a ship. There was an open space on the periphery that looked like the deck of a ship. One could observe the area below while the airship was flying. Wang Xian entered and bought a fixed seat for the airship ticket. When he entered, he realized that there were already people sitting beside him. Wang Xian sat down and looked around. 300 to 400 seats were basically filled. Brother, are you going to celebrate young master his birthday as well? Do you want to join young master his army? At this moment, a voice suddenly came from the side. Wang Xian turned his head and saw a slightly chubby young man with a slit in his eyes looking at him with his head tilted. Let's go and take a look. Wang Xian nodded his head faintly and closed his eyes slowly. Brother, you don't seem to be from Nanling City, right? Where are you from? Look at your impressive appearance. You are a strong competitor of mine. Seeing that Wang Xian closed his eyes and didn't want to speak, the fatty didn't mind and said with a smile. Hey, brother, you have quite a personality. Those who have a personality have a high chance of joining young master his army. It seems that we are fated to join young master his army this time. My name is Dui Dazhuang. I'm a core member of the He clan from the previous 15 generations. When Dui Dazhuang saw that Wang Xian was still ignoring him, he did not mind and continued to spout. Damn fatty, shut up. You, a level 7 extraordinary, still want to join young master his army? Dream on. If you continue to spout nonsense here, I'll seal your mouth. At this moment, a young man in the front seat turned his head and glared at him. Shut up, shut up. Dui Dazhuang retracted his head and smiled awkwardly. My name is Wang Xian. Wang Xian didn't want to bother with the fatty who was nagging beside him. When he heard the young man's shout, he raised his eyebrows slightly and opened his eyes to look at Dui Dazhuang. Brother Wang Xian, what a good name. Dui Dazhuang raised his thumb in a low voice and said with a smile. Tell me, what should he Yuan give for his birthday? Wang Xian asked Dui Mu Dazhuang. Wang Xian had come all the way here for He Yuan's birthday. Furthermore, he was asking for his help. Naturally, he couldn't leave empty-handed. He shouldn't be lacking in weapons and elixirs. Gao, I'm prepared to give a gift to young Master He for his birthday. If young Master He is satisfied with my gift, he might be able to let me join his army. With young Master His status, he doesn't lack any gifts. What he lacks the most is sincerity. Let me show you something secretly. As Dui Dazhuang spoke, he took out an item carefully. Wang Xian looked over and was slightly stunned. It was a wooden sculpture, about half a meter in size. The wooden sculpture was clearly the image of He Yuan. Beside it were two mighty ferocious beasts. It was lifelike. This gift was very exquisite and thoughtful. How is it? Is it lifelike? I finally managed to find a portrait of young Master He to carve it into. Young Master He will definitely like it very much when he sees it. Dui Dazhuang squinted his eyes and smiled. He squinted his eyes and couldn't see it anymore. It's pretty good. Wang Xian nodded his head faintly. His heart skipped a beat. After hesitating for a moment, he thought of what to gift. Buzz. At this moment, the airship took off and flew towards the sky at a very fast speed. The speed of this airship was no less than the full speed of a powerhouse at the first level of the profound void stage. Wang Xian stood up and walked towards the location outside. Brother Wang Xian, shall we go and take a look at the scenery? Let's go together. Wang Dazhuang's voice came from behind. Chapter 1480. 1480 Prince Charming 1480. Wang Xian walked out of the airship and arrived outside. With the protection of the formation, he couldn't feel any wind at all. The airship was flying at a speed of 10,000 meters in the air. Its speed was dozens of times faster than the airplanes on Earth. Look at the magnificent mountains and rivers. Just like how ambitious I am. This time, Dui Dazhuang must join young Master His army. Dui Dazhuang, who was following behind him, shouted loudly as soon as he came out. Wang Xian ignored him and went to the railing at the back. With a thought, a pet egg appeared in his hand. The green pet egg was covered with patterns, but there was only a faint trace of life on it. It was as if it was going to die at any moment. This was a pet egg that Wang Xian obtained from the Atlas Sword Sect. After destroying the Atlas Sword Sect, Wang Xian had gained a lot. Just the conversion of elixirs, herbs, and the like into dragon energy had reached more than 300 billion dragon crystals. A big faction was indeed a big faction. This pet egg was one of the treasures that he obtained. However, Wang Xian could sense that the life in this pet egg was about to die prematurely. A wood elemental pet egg of the third level of the void interpretation realm. If it is nourished by dragon energy, it should be able to raise the level of its bloodline. Wang Xian thought to himself as he held the pet egg with both hands. Hey, brother Wang Xian, why does this pet egg of yours seem lifeless? Do you want to eat it? Lone Wood Dazhuang looked at Wang Xian curiously and asked. Buzz. Wang Xian did not reply him. Waves of dragon energy were injected into the pet egg. A faint green light was emitted. Wang Xian could clearly feel the revival of life in it. Following that, the dragon crystal began to transform its body and bloodline. Crack, crack, crack. A sound that sounded like a breakthrough was heard from inside. Wang Xian was slightly speechless as he felt the consumption of the dragon crystal. However, he did not stop. He continued to upgrade the bloodline level of the pets inside. He did not stop until he reached the 6th level of the see-through realm from the 3rd level of the see-through realm. At this moment, the pet egg was emitting a dazzling green light. This. Love is a ray of light, so green that you're panicking. Dui Dazhuang, who was standing at the side, saw the strong vitality of the pet egg and said with his eyes wide open in shock. I don't like this damn fatty Dui Dazhuang. My father insisted that I marry him, and his mother actually agreed to it. He didn't even look at himself. I feel disgusted just by looking at him. I still like Dui Gongzi. If he is 1/10 of his brother, Dui Gongzi, I would have agreed to it. Ph. The son of a maid is the son of a maid. At this moment, a voice came from the exit. Following that, 5 or 6 beautiful figures walked over. The one who spoke was a girl who looked a little unruly. Wang Xian was slightly stunned when he heard this voice. It was really. Love is a ray of light. You are flustered when you are green. Dui Dazhuang's face turned dark as well. Lianjin, lower your voice. Lianjin, your fiancé is over there. At this moment, some of the girls beside him reminded him while others teased him. Chimpate. So what if I say it to your face? The seemingly unruly girl raised her head and saw Dui Mu Dazhuang, but she still said disdainfully. You. Lu Lianjin, don't bully the young and poor. When I join young master his army, you. TSK, someone like you still dares to think of joining young master his army. If you can enter, I, Lu Lianjin, will kneel before you. Alright, you. Just you wait. Do you really think that someone like you can join young master his army? Idiot. Dui Dazhuang was furious when he saw the girl mocking him. However, he was interrupted before he could finish his sentence. He was so angry that his fat was trembling. Wang Xian took a look at Dui Dazhuang. Then, he turned around and placed the pet egg into his storage spiritual bag. Feeling bored, he found some wood materials from his interspatial ring. All of them were of the insightful void tier. He moved his arm slightly and started to carve slowly with his palm as a knife. The carving was to arouse his interest when he saw the figure carved by Dui Mu Dazhuang. His palm moved and soon, a human figure appeared. The human figure was Ling Jian. With a smile on her face, she was holding a pastry in her hand. The figure was lifelike, just like a real person. Wang Xian held the palm-sized figure and touched it with his hand. He let out a silent sigh and looked forward. Hey! What a beautiful and exquisite sculpture. What a powerful level of sculpture. It seems to be much more powerful than Dui Dazhuang. At this moment, a surprised voice came from the side. Miss Zun Sister Zun Dui Mu. When the voice sounded, voices came from behind. Wang Xian didn't turn around. He wasn't trying to show off. Instead, he was looking into the distance. Dui Mu Dazhuang, who was still full of anger, turned around and looked at the sculpture in Wang Xian's hand. He was instantly stunned. Her mother's sculpture was very exquisite, and he learned sculpture from his mother. In the entire Nanling city, his sculpture level was second. No one dared to say that he was first. Just now, he was showing off his sculpture to Wang Xian. However, Wang Xian had suddenly sculpted a sculpture quickly. A sculpture that was even more exquisite than his. Most importantly, this sculpture was only the size of a palm. As everyone knew, the smaller the sculpture, the harder it was to sculpt and the harder it was to be exquisite. You are 70% as good as me. Dui Mu raised his head and revealed his thick neck as he spoke forcefully. However, no one paid attention to him. Young master, this is the first time I've seen such a beautiful sculpture. Your sculpting skills are really on the level of a master. A faint fragrance wafted over. Wang Xian frowned slightly. At the back, the young man known as Dui Dazhuang frowned slightly when he saw this scene. The fan in his hand stiffened and his expression turned ugly. He had an extraordinary background and outstanding talent, but his looks. To be able to have the same father as Dui Dazhuang, his looks were not much better. He could only be said to be ordinary. When he saw Zun walking towards Wang Xian, his expression turned ugly. Zun, if you want a statue, I will get Dazhuang to sculpt it for you. He squeezed out a smile and said with an ugly expression. Dazhuang's standard is slightly inferior to this young master. Zun shook her head and looked at Wang Xian again. She smiled and said, This young master, I am Yuan Zun. May I know your name? Yuan Zun asked Wang Xian. However, Wang Xian still did not answer. He continued to look into the distance. This made Yuan Zun frown slightly. She looked at her body with some doubt. She was still as beautiful as ever. "Young master, can I plead with you?" "Of course, I will give you a reward. Can you carve a sculpture for me?" Yuan Zun spoke to Wang Xian again. "No." He spat out 2 words coldly without turning his head. After the incident with Ling Jian, he came to a conclusion. He was too outstanding and was too popular with girls. In order to prevent something like Ling Jian from happening, he can only quietly do a cold male god, disdain any beauty. Chapter 1481. 1481 Stunned. He won't. Yuan Zun was stunned. Her expression slowly turned ugly. He won't. She had witnessed with her own eyes how this young man used his hand as a knife to quickly carve an exquisite sculpture. Now, he actually said he wouldn't. What did this mean? "Young master, if you don't want to carve, then so be it. Do you have to say you won't?" Yuan Zun said to Wang Xian with a sullen face and some anger. "I don't want to." Wang Xian heard her words and said faintly, "You." When Yuan Zun heard these 3 words from him, her face instantly darkened. "Compete." She snorted softly and turned around to leave with a flushed face. This was the most unreasonable young man she had ever seen. She even wondered if the other party was blind. HMPH, birds of a feather flock together. Lu Lianjin's face was filled with disdain when he saw Wang Xian angering Yuan Zun. He looked at Dumu Dazhuang who was at the side and said disdainfully. He immediately followed him inside. "Hehe, this brother really has a personality." When Dumu saw Yuan Zun leave in anger, a hint of a smile appeared in his eyes. He waved the feather fan in his hand and stared at Wang Xian with a twinkle in his eyes. The 5 young men standing beside him also raised their eyebrows and stood behind Dumu. When Dumu Dazhuang saw his big brother's expression, his expression changed slightly. "Big brother, I saw that Miss Zun wanted to talk to this brother of mine, so I deliberately let him talk like this. Isn't this to not disturb you, big brother?" He spoke to Dumu Dazhuang embarrassedly. "Scram, disgusting thing, did I talk to you?" Dumu Dazhuang heard his words and spoke without any mercy. This made Dumu Dazhuang smile embarrassedly and didn't continue to speak. Obviously, this wasn't the first time he had seen such an attitude. "Brother, let's discuss something." Dumu Dazhuang looked at Wang Xian and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. "Speak." Wang Xian looked at him indifferently and said expressionlessly, "You, carve a statue for me immediately. It's the statue of the beauty from earlier. Also, apologize to her." Young Master Dumu stared at Wang Xian with a smile and said faintly, "Is there something wrong with your big brother's brain?" Wang Xian heard his words and looked at Dumu Dazhuang who was at the side. Dumu Dazhuang's expression changed slightly when he heard what Wang Xian said. "Ha ha ha, brother Wang Xian said that there's something wrong with my brain." "Indeed. Tell me again." Dumu Dazhuang laughed and said loudly. However, when Dumu Dazhuang heard what Wang Xian said, his expression immediately turned dark and cold. They stared at Wang Xian coldly. Behind him, the faces of the 5 young men also turned cold. Long swords appeared in their hands one after another. "Get lost. Don't challenge my patience." Wang Xian swept his cold gaze across the 6 of them. There was no emotion on his face. "Fuck. Who do you think you are? Let me tell you. Do as our young master says. Otherwise, you will be in big trouble today." A young man standing behind young Master Dumu pointed his long sword at Wang Xian and shouted sternly, "Crack, crack, crack." However, just as the long sword in his hand was raised and aimed at Wang Xian, the long sword in his hand started to crack slowly and fell to the ground piece by piece. "Huh!" The young man was slightly stunned and his face was filled with astonishment. Who is making a move here? At this moment, a cold voice was suddenly heard. An old man dressed in green clothes appeared beside them. The old man stared at the long sword in the young man's hand. He raised his eyebrows slightly and scanned the surroundings. "Sir." When young Master Dumu and the rest of the young men saw the old man's figure, their expressions changed drastically. They hurriedly shouted in fear. The old man ignored them and looked at Wang Xian. "No one is allowed to make a move inside the airship." "I know." Wang Xian nodded his head. He knew that the entire airship was enveloped by a formation. When he mobilized any energy here, it would be under the surveillance of the formation. This formation was controlled by humans. Wang Xian's non-formation ability could not evade it. Therefore, the moment he mobilized the energy, he was discovered by the old man in front of him. The old man's strength was at level 4 void interpretation. He was not weak, but he was still far from Wang Xian. Not bad, young man. The old man nodded at him and praised him. Judging from the energy he mobilized just now, he was at least at the peak of level 1 of the see-through realm. He was very impressed by Wang Xian's cultivation at such a young age. If you guys want to die, I will throw you all down and return to your positions. Don't move. Following that, the old man looked at young Master Dui Mu and the others and said coldly, "Da." Young Master Dui Mu was slightly stunned and said with an embarrassed expression. However, when he saw the old man's cold expression, he hurriedly swallowed his words. He nodded his head in fear and walked into the airship. At the same time, his eyes flickered and he swallowed a mouthful of saliva in fear. He thought of the old man's attitude towards him and the young man just now. When he thought of the sharp sword just now, cold sweat appeared on his forehead. That young man's strength is definitely very strong. It's possible. His heart sank as he guessed with an embarrassed expression. My treasured sword, this is a transcendent level 9 sharp sword. Just now, it actually directly. At this moment, the young man's distressed voice came from behind, causing young Master Dumu to take a deep breath. Damn it. He clenched his fists and cursed under his breath. With a dark expression, he returned to his seat and didn't dare to leave. Fuck, Brother Wang Xian, Brother Wang Xian, the Lord just now actually said that you're not bad. He directly berated Dumu Tianyuan, that bastard. And that sword, brother, are you a Heaven's Pride expert? Are you a Heaven's Pride expert at the profound void realm? Dui Dazhuang, who was at the side, saw his brother leaving with an extremely embarrassed expression. After seeing the old man leave, he let out a series of exclamations. Is that your real big brother? Wang Xian didn't answer him. Instead, he asked him. Yes, we have the same father. He, big brother Wang Xian, are you curious about our relationship? My mother is a maid. It's a very cliché story. She had sex with my father and gave birth to me. Although I'm from the Dugu family, I'm not well liked. I barely have a name. Brother, you've seen it too. Those guys don't even give me face. Dumu Dazhuang chuckled. Then you're not angry? Wang Xian looked at him curiously. I'm angry. I was angry at first too. But after hearing what my mother said, I'm not angry at all. My mother was from an ordinary family. Because of her good carving skills, she worked in the Dugu family. If not for that melodramatic story, my mother would have married a very ordinary man. If my mother had married an ordinary man, then I would have been a kid from an ordinary family. There was even a possibility that I wouldn't have existed. So, this is a good thing for me. Although that bullshit big brother of mine and some young disciples look down on me, I am still a famous person with a background in Nanling City. There's no need to run around because of some other things. I'm already very satisfied with putting my life on the line, Dui Dazhuang said very optimistically. Chapter 1482. 1482 Forest of the He Clan. Big brother, tell me, are you a powerhouse at the level of the void interpretation? I want to cling on to Big Brother's legs. If Big Brother becomes successful in the future, I want to see those guys still dare to be arrogant in front of me. Haha. Once Dui Dazhuang opened his mouth, he started to talk non-stop. It had to be said that Dui Dazhuang was a very optimistic person. As the saying goes, the heart is broad and the body is fat. He must be someone like him. Wang Xian took a piece of wood and used his hand as a knife to carve the statue again. He had never learned how to carve before. However, with his focus and terrifying control, he could easily complete the carving. Speaking of which, he relied on his powerful strength to carve. While Wang Xian was carving, Lonewood Dazhuang, who was at the side, did not care whether he was listening or not. He kept on talking. Look down. We are in the ancient wood forest. There is an area of 10,000 kilometers in front of us. The He clan's forest is located in the middle of the ancient wood forest. In the past, the ancient wood forest was a paradise for ferocious beasts and demonic beasts. 10,000 years ago, the first leader of the He clan, He appeared out of nowhere. He swept through all the ferocious beasts and demonic beasts in the ancient wood forest. He took over the heart of the ancient wood forest and established the He clan today. After flying for an hour, Dui Dajwang pointed ahead and introduced the He clan to Wang Xian. Wang Xian looked ahead and saw an endless forest. It was a gigantic tree that was 500 to 600 meters tall. Each tree had a diameter of more than 10 meters. It was a spectacular sight. Ancient wood forest, the territory of the He clan. The He clan's forest. The He clan's forest has arrived. 3 hours later, Dui Dajwang's exclamation was heard once again. Wang Xian's heart was moved as he looked ahead. A majestic life force was rushing towards them. The trees were twice as tall as the entrance and twice as large in diameter. The rich life force and the majestic wood attribute energy were at least 5 to 6 times that of the outside world. The speed of wood attribute cultivators cultivating here was several times faster than the outside world. Even if they were not wood element cultivators, they would still have great benefits here. The gigantic trees were neatly built. Looking down from the sky, it was like a fairyland. Is this the He clan's forest? Even the ancient bloodstream sect in the flowing sea region can't compare to it. Wang Xian revealed a hint of surprise in his eyes as he looked down. Brother Wang Xian, with your strength, you will definitely be able to join young master his army this time. Don't forget about me in the future. Standing at the side, Dui Dajwang said with a fawning expression. Wang Xian glanced at him and didn't say anything. He looked down. The He clan's forest was filled with wooden buildings. The entire area was filled with unique features. The airship kept flying forward. After more than 10 minutes, a huge tree with a diameter of more than 1,000 meters appeared in their line of sight. The tree was 2,000 to 3,000 meters tall and shot straight into the clouds. That is the center of the He clan's forest, the holy tree known as the heart of the forest. Lone Tree Dajwang introduced it to Wang Xian. He nodded his head slowly. The resources in the vast area could not be compared to the flowing sea region. There were many paradises here. The most famous place in the vast region was the ruins of the Divine Kingdom. It was an extremely mystical paradise. The forest of the He clan is arriving soon. Everyone, get ready. At this moment, the sound of a notification came from the airship. The airship flew towards the location below. Everyone, get down. The airship did not land on the ground. Instead, it floated in the sky. The formation that was blocking the airship disappeared. Wang Xian's body moved and he flew straight down. Brother Wang Xian, wait for me. Dui Dajwang followed behind and caught up to Wang Xian hurriedly. Aren't you going with the people from Nanling City? Wang Xian looked at him and asked faintly. No. This is your first time here, brother. I've been here twice. Why don't I show you around? Dui Dajwang rubbed his hands with a smile and said to him. Sure. Wang Xian nodded his head. Do you know where He Yuan is? Young Master He? Of course, young Master He is at the holy tree. We can't enter. If we want to see young Master He, we have to wait until his birthday. Dui Dajwang pointed at the huge tree in front of him and said with a smile. Wang Xian hesitated for a moment before nodding his head slowly. He Yuan's birthday would arrive in a few days. He would be looking for him then. Let's go, brother. I'll show you around here. Within 100 kilometers of this area, it's the most lively spot. There's everything. Dui Dajwang said with a smile on his face. Wang Xian nodded his head and followed beside him. This damned Dumu Dajwang, this damned fellow. At the back, Dumu Gong's face turned gloomy when he saw Dumu Dajwang and Wang Xian leaving. He took a deep breath and a helpless expression appeared on his face. Timpate. Yun Zun who was at the side, looked at Wang Xian's back and snorted coldly with an embarrassed expression. Do you know what is the most famous thing in the He clan's forest? Bejeweled nectar. TSK, you don't know. The wine brewed with bejeweled nectar and the tea brewed are the best in the world. Dui Dazhuang acted as if he was very familiar with the place. He introduced the place to Wang Xian with a smile. Wang Xian nodded. It was his first time here. It was much more convenient to have acquaintances. Let's go. Dui Dazhuang led Wang Xian forward. The He clan's forest was located in the middle of the forest. They were also walking in the forest. The ground was a kind of soft grass. It was very soft when they stepped on it. There were small rivers around them, and there was a kind of car beside the river. The one pulling the car was a kind of elk. It was a herbivorous animal and looked very docile. There were many wooden houses around. Some of the wooden houses were selling various items. Are we not there yet? After walking for more than an hour, Wang Xian looked at Dui Dazhuang and asked. Cough, cough, almost there. We should be there in another 3 hours or so. Let's go, let's train our bodies and lose weight. Dui Dazhuang coughed and exercised his body. Let's take the carriage. Wang Xian said directly. Cough cough, brother Wang Xian, this carriage is extremely expensive. I have spirit stones. Wang Xian was a little speechless. It turned out that this fellow didn't have any spirit stones to take the carriage. Ha ha, all right. Brother Wang Xian, let me tell you. Although I don't have any spirit stones now, I will become a diamond bachelor in 2 days. Dui Dazhuang narrowed his eyes and laughed out loud. The two of them got into the carriage. The carriage shuttled through the forest of the He clan and arrived at the place Dui Dazhuang had mentioned in less than 20 minutes. Compared to their previous location, this place was obviously much livelier. There were many humans and a group of green humanoid demonic beasts around them. They were from the forest fairy race and were one of the important members of the He clan. This time, there are no less than 5,000 to 6,000 young elites who want to join young master his army for his birthday. Dui Dazhuang looked at the young elites around him and frowned slightly.